Mm.
You tell us about one of your instances that you've done a large deal. Like, what was the dollar amount to that deal? If you could share that with us, and like, what was the experience through that process?
I would say it wasn't a single. I think one of my best solo years, about 2022, I got like $1.8 million solo for like 10 different projects. And it ranged between the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program. Appreciate that. It was the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program under Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We got our first allocation there. I had one allocation for a suicide prevention program, another one for a scholarship for low-income college students, another one for elderly for youth students to essentially teach old people to stop being scammed online so they can understand. Because during the pandemic, everybody was scamming the old folks, right? So they ended up being a different mix there. Also, some money for people that were coming out of prison so that they could transition back into life well, so at least the workforce development part was there. So to me, it was more getting out of the narrative of DeSantis and the nonsense.
No, you right, son, my bad. Give him 90 yards. I told you I had it. The boy told his mama told me he needed a scholarship. He needed a change in his life. And I'm going to give it to him in Eugene, baby. I'm going to give it to him in Eugene right now. We're going to that out. We're going to the 90 yard. It ain't over till I say it's over. My boy. Welcome to BHM. It's another one. Oh, we coming back. Don't worry. Woo! We're doing this for slavery, for civil rights, for Jim Crow. Hey, everybody!
Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I appreciate y'all's patience on my inconsistency on this stream, man. Listen, it's been a lot since the Thanksgiving holiday. I've been busy. You know, honestly, getting through the holidays is, one, the holidays themselves. Two, you're closing out the year for business. My son's birthday is 4 days before my wife's birthday. And they're all around a week before Christmas, 2 weeks before Christmas, right? So it's a nice chunk of change before you round out the year, and we try to get to where we're at today. And all put together. Didn't take a mental health break. I was just busy, and I just felt like, you know what, if I can't put out a quality product, then I'm just gonna wait. And as we round out this year, we said it since April, May, June. Y'all know by now it's a process. Hold on, let me get my backlight. I got to charge my backlight. Gotta turn the backlight on. But it's a process that I'm quietly learning. Needs more consistency. Needs a dedicated time schedule. And my Christmas gift to y'all will be getting that to you. So I appreciate everyone tapping in for the stream today. We're going to tap in with President Trump, about to go live in un momento, discussing, I believe, drug prices. Yesterday, I missed a big announcement regarding the marijuana reclassification, which I feel is really huge. Not only for the decriminalization or how it's processed, how it's impacted Black communities, communities of color, white communities, the overall impacts of it, but now it's to a point of saying, okay, cool, what's next? And a part of it is, you know, at least giving the president some chance to say, you know what, he's done something for some people. You may not like everything he's done, but that Christmas conversation around declassifying marijuana is going to be very, very interesting, right? And I hope that everyone who does essentially enjoy smoking for what it is that they can maybe, find some solace and say, you know what, maybe that President Trump isn't so damn bad. Maybe Trump isn't as bad as they say he is. But regardless of that, waiting on President Trump to tap in for today, I'm going to catch up on some other things. But to be fair, mental health is always a thing for me, right? I was watching someone else, one of the homie streams yesterday, and they're talking about the fact of your mental health being your main priority, right? And I do feel that sometimes gets lost in the mix of life, because now you'll see like a Kodak Black or Casarett, Kai, the streamer, speak about, depression and everything else. I saw one guy put up a video, I may do a reaction to it, about how he better be working on that school that he promised, right? Because everybody promises a school. Oprah promises a school, Jay-Z, everybody, right? Diddy even had a school. But that's funny to see in some aspect, but then it's also like, damn, how could you have so much anxiety? How could you be dealing with mental health issues? You have money, you're rich, you're famous, all these other things. And it makes it put in perspective like, damn, how can you be rich and still have problems? Money doesn't solve the issue. More money, more problems. Biggie Small said it. A lot of people live by it and decree it. And it's true that there can be a point of, you know what, I'm streaming in my home, I'm building a nice little audience. Next thing you know, you can't even go grocery shopping. You can't even go on a vacation without people recognizing you. Maybe that Michael Jackson stardom. And for some people, they're like, well, shit, this is what you asked for. This is what you get, right? But then it's a part of, I honestly feel, I'm an 80s baby. I grew up on dial-up. I feel that there's a part of it that says, you know what? The mind and the body was not used to all this exposure. There used to be a point in some people's life that they only saw 30 beautiful women in their lifetime. And maybe 15 of them they actually went to high school with or middle school. Like, damn, they're beautiful. The most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Gorgeous. Then all of a sudden, you get exposed to the internet and you see like thousands upon beautifuls of women, stallions of women all over Africa, Europe, Italy. You can sit here and track a location on TikTok and see the most beautiful women in the world. And like, damn. Make you want to throw rocks at the 30 that she was in your city, right? But then there's a point of being exposed to things that, you may mentally not be where you want to be in life. You may mentally not physically be where you want to be, wherever, right? Then you end up seeing through the algorithm so many things thrown at you. Like Trump, politics, Jasmine Crockett, random news, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, right? They're throwing everything at you. It's like, damn, I wasn't supposed to be exposed to all of this, because I just want to find out, how am I supposed to provide for my family? How am I supposed to live and go about my day? But after a while, it gets to a point of saying like, damn, something's in the water, something's in the atmosphere out here. And I think the overexposure to people to regular everyday stuff is what's leading to a cause of all of this anxiety problems that we see in America today. I've had my own, no lie, right? A lot of my anxiety hasn't been about being a black man, hasn't been about anything else, just like life pressures. After meeting with my psychologist, my therapist, like, you know what, Phil? It's all in your mind. It's like, just imagine, like, no bullshit. Imagine the pressure of not having a father. The black American Dad story, right? That's what they call it. Drake called it, I think, right? Boo-hoo, sad story. But imagine the pressure of being like, damn, okay, I didn't have a father. I had father figures, but now I'm under the pressure of being one. Shit. It's easy to leave. And it's not just me thinking that. I've known brothers my age. It's like, hey, yeah, I had it. Fuck it. Fuck that generational curse. I got it on my back. They're going to have it too. And then some people look at it like, you know what, damn, how can I maintain a prayer? How can I lead a path that I've never seen? And kind of, saying, hey, there's pressure there. But also realizing it's all in your mind. Also realizing it's all from the outside world. It's not just me. It's just a perspective of life. It's like, damn, whose expectations am I living up to? Because in the 60s, 50s, the 40s, the 30s, I don't think everyone was trying to push on society's perspective. It wasn't until like the 70s, 80s, well, damn, we seen what Dr. King did. We seen what Malcolm X did. QP Newton. You see what they doing? Yeah, I want to be like that too, right? And in the collective, it's kind of grown to there, right? But all put together, it's like, are we doing this for each other? Like your self-edification, or are you doing this for others? And I think that's the part that we all battle with. I battle with, and even the fact of, you see people with higher stature, even Wale, right? No bullshit. I didn't see the whole interview. I may pull it up here, but Wale talked about how his interaction with Casarett kind of threw off, you know, everything there. And it's like, hey, I didn't know that this one interaction of being embarrassed in front of millions of people would have a reaction like that. But again, if you're embarrassed in front of millions of people, who would ever grow up to expect that? Even for people who've grown up on social media. But then it's like, I hate to say it, we've seen Michael Jackson, we've seen Bow Wow, we've seen not Taylor Swift, but what's her name? Damn, Hillary Duff. Who else? Miley Cyrus. Yeah, that's the one. We've seen how the impact of the shit from a kid all the way in. But what am I talking about? I'm rambling for right now. I'm just getting back in my groove before I get into the Trump stuff. Just talking mental health. But I guess we want politics. I'm gonna flip over, waiting for Trump to start, but I'm gonna go to this Democratic interview. Oh fuck, that is my pace. End of the day, I think mental health is huge, but who am I? Appreciate y'all tapping in. I'm gonna jump into the Democrats. Carson died. I don't know what he's talking about. See what the Dems talking about before we get into Trump.
Good morning, everyone. All year, Democrats have been united in sounding the alarm on the healthcare crisis that Republicans are creating in this country. It started with Republicans' budget and their big ugly bill, the largest cut in healthcare in U.S. history. And now, Speaker Johnson's refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Of course, we know that this is nothing new for Republicans. For more than a decade, they have been hell-bent on repealing the Affordable Care Act without putting forward an alternative in its place. And as we saw this week, nothing has changed with House Republican leadership, but something has changed within their own ranks. Yesterday, 4 House Republicans finally joined with Democrats on our discharge petition to force a vote on a clean 3-year extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. House Democrats know that Americans cannot afford to pay an extra $1,000 every year for their health care, especially in this economy. And when people don't have health insurance, they don't stop getting sick, they don't stop needing medication, they don't stop needing care for them and their kids. And as Leader Jeffries has said all along, this is the only real plan on the table to ensure that Americans' premiums don't skyrocket by the end of the year. We have the votes, we have the momentum, we have the American people on our side. Let's not waste another second. Speaker Johnson, bring this bill to the floor right now. Next, our amazing whip, Catherine Clark.
Thank you so much, Chairman Aguilar, and good morning, everyone. A reporter asked Speaker Johnson yesterday if he's lost control of the House because 4 Republicans joined 214 Democrats to force a vote on health care. But here's the truth. It's not about Speaker Johnston. Yesterday was the American people reclaiming the people's house and proclaiming that health care is a right and not a privilege for the wealthy.
Let's go.
Dr. King told us of all forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and the most inhuman. And the first year of this administration has certainly been shocking and inhuman. At every turn, Trump and his loyalists in the House have chosen injustice. They have made the morally corrupt choice to take health care away from people who work hard for a living to fund tax cuts for the very wealthiest. They were so eager to pass these permanent tax cuts for the billionaire class, they called us back from recess in July, all at the expense of the health and financial security of working families. That is how they have chosen to lead. The Republicans chose to shut down government. They chose to leave town rather than negotiate with us on a solution. They chose to ignore skyrocketing premiums. They chose to build a ballroom for their cronies rather than build a strong middle class. But thanks to the unity of this caucus, the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries, and the resolve of the American people, Democrats have secured a vote on extending the ACA tax credits. The only question that remains is when. And I humbly suggest it should be today. So, Speaker Johnson, don't send us home without a vote. Put this bill on the floor. The American people are watching, and they deserve a vote.
Amen.
And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce our leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
Leader of Democrats.
Good morning. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, House Democrats.
Let's go.
For always showing up, standing up, and speaking up for the American people. And because of the leadership of House Democrats, of this House Democratic Caucus, we've successfully secured a vote with a successful discharge petition to protect the health care of the American people and extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Oh, my God! We're here gathered on the House steps with one last thing remaining. We want to make clear to Mike Johnson that the American people deserve a vote on the Affordable Care Act tax credit legislation and deserve that vote today. No more excuses, no more delay, no more burying your head in the sand. Under no circumstances should the House of Representatives adjourn until we successfully extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for tens of millions of Americans. The American people deserve a vote today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, today.
Today.
Republicans have had all year to address this health care situation.
And what happened?
But they've been too busy trying to jam their extreme agenda down the throats of the American people.
Not my throat.
Republicans have been too busy enacting reckless tariffs that increase costs on everyday Americans by thousands of dollars per year. Republicans have been too busy gutting the health care of the American people. Republicans have been too busy ripping food from the mouths of hungry children, seniors, and veterans. Republicans have been too busy enacting massive tax breaks for their billionaire donors. And Republicans have been too busy treating the Congress like it's a wholly owned subsidiary of the Trump cartel. Let me be clear about something. We ain't down with any of that.
You say a lot of tricky words.
House Democrats aren't here to bend the knee to Donald Trump. We're here to bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice.
I ain't bending shit. I'm sorry. I ain't doing the bending.
As House Democrats, that the cost of living in this great country is far too high, that America is too expensive, that far too many people, working class folks, are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck, can't thrive, can barely survive. That the most important thing that the Congress should be doing is driving down the high cost of living.
Let's go.
To make life more affordable for everyday Americans.
For everyday Americans.
We believe that in this great country, that when you work hard and play by the rules, you should be able to live an affordable life, a comfortable life, to live the good life. Not too complicated in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. We believe that when you work hard and play by the rules, you should be able to live the good life. Good paying job, good housing, good health care, good education for your children, and a good retirement, which means keep your hands off our Social Security and our Medicare at all times.
Let's go.
And Democrats believe in this great country, the wealthiest country in the history of the world,
You say a lot of tricky
that
words.
access to high-quality health care can't simply be a privilege that's only available to the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. We believe as Democrats that in this great country, health care that's affordable and accessible is a right that should be available to every single American.
Right.
That's what we believe, and that's what we're fighting hard
Ain't that right?
to achieve. Now, unfortunately, all year, the American people have been dealing with this Republican health care crisis that is devastating everyday Americans. And we're here to call it out. We're here to provide a moment of clarity. Republicans have enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history.
You say a lot of tricky words.
Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across the country, including in rural America, because of toxic Republican policies in their one big ugly bill. Republicans have launched an all-out assault on the Centers for Disease Control, the National Institute of Health, the Food and Drug Administration, on vaccine availability for children, and on public health. And because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits,
What happened, boss?
tens of millions of Americans are at risk of being unable to go see a doctor when they need one. The Republican health care crisis is unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American. And our message to Mike Johnson is clear. You can run, but you cannot hide. The American people are horrified. Republican leaders are petrified. But House Democrats are unified, standing up on behalf of the American people to protect their health care. And so we're demanding a vote today
You say a lot of tricky
on
words.
extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, today.
Today?
You say a lot
And
of
our
tricky
promise
words.
to the American people is that we will continue to fight to drive down the high cost of living, continue to fight to fix our broken healthcare system, and we will continue to stand up for Medicaid, for Medicare, for the Affordable Care Act, for our hospitals, for our nursing homes, for our community-based health clinics, for the health care of every single American. House Democrats are in this fight until we win this fight. Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care, and extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits now. God bless you, and God bless the American people.
I mean, it gets kind of old now because there's nothing that Hakeem Jeffries has said or is saying that is new. This is the same conversation Democrats have had since the big, beautiful bill was on the floor, since they passed it. Now, the same healthcare cuts, the same community health clinics, there's nothing new. It's just a lot of...
You say a lot of tricky words.
That's all it really is. Timu Obama is out here galvanizing Democrats to say, hey, let's have one more press conference before people break for the holidays. And guess what? We may have another one next week too. It doesn't even make sense. It's like after a while, it's like, okay, cool. I understand the narrative, but it has to be more intricate because even these new polls that are coming out that I've been saying have been saying basically that they don't trust Democrats, voters across the board, don't trust Democrats on the economy. So how is it that we're talking about everything except, well, we talk about inflation, we talk about grocery prices, but that's been the issue that Kamala Harris blamed on corporations last year. That Trump said he was going to promise to bring down and he hasn't. And it's impacted his overall ratings. And we're going to get to him shortly, waiting on Trump to go live. But it's also a fact of saying, okay, cool. In that time frame, Hakeem Jeffries, leader of the Democrats, just likes to say,
you say a lot of tricky words,
but he does not come with a solution. And after a while, it's like, okay, cool. I get it. This is my analogy to it. We've all probably been in relationships or situations where we've seen someone get cheated on. And it's like, damn, they keep giving you the same story over and over and over and over and over. And it's like, damn, okay, cool. Is this what's driving a lot of the local elections to go vote? Is it ICE? Is it the Democrats' message? Are they building any trust to say, you know what? I'm not going to trick off on you and go. I lost myself in my train of thought there, so excuse me, all right? It's like they're saying the same shit, but they're not engaging folks to me, at least at leadership at the top, right? But then it's the fact of, okay, we see some movement with some of the local elections that happened in Georgia, Mississippi, city of Miami. But is it enough to flip over the entire Congress next year? Because to me, it's like, this isn't enough to galvanize people to come vote, because I don't believe broke people or broken people are going to be inspired to be like, yeah, this is something I want to go vote in or vote for. I don't see that. And that's the problem I have with Democrats. But the problem I have with Trump is he has a 1 o'clock press conference and he's not on time. Or is my stream delayed? Let's see. Where's our good president at? I'm in the wrong screen. Either way, thank y'all for tapping in. For the stream today. Let me see if he's live. Nope, same one. Waiting on my man to go live at 1. But what I will pull up while we wait on that is yesterday when President Trump signed the marijuana.
Pretty amazing.
Executive order.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
Thank you very much.
This from yesterday, y'all. I missed it clearly.
Well, it's a big day and many reasons, really for many reasons, and I have a very distinguished group of people behind me, mostly medical people and brilliant people, and they really know what they're doing. And I just want to thank them. They truly gave their lives in terms of the time and all of the incredible work they've done over the years in arriving at the position they have now. Most respected people in the country. Today I'm pleased to announce that I will be signing an executive order to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance with legitimate medical uses. We have people begging for me to do this, people that are in great pain. For decades, this action has been requested by American patients suffering from extreme pain, incurable diseases, aggressive cancers, seizure disorders, neurological problems, and more, including numerous veterans with service-related injuries and older Americans who live with chronic medical problems that severely degrade their quality of life. And it's so really, I mean, I can't tell you, I think I probably have received more phone calls on this, on doing what we're doing. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it. But hopefully this reclassification, which by the way polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life. We're joined today by Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's doing a fantastic job, Administrator of Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, the FDA Commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary, Director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, and the Director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, Dr. Nora Volkow, as well as Dr. Ilana Braun from the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Duke University's Dr. David Casarett, the National Commander of the American Legion, Dan Wiley, and my friend Howard Kessler. Howard, how are you feeling? I'm telling you, he looks better than he did 20 years ago. But I don't want to go through what you went through to get there, right? But it looks like you're doing great. I'm proud of you. I want to emphasize that the order I am about to sign is not the legalization, or it doesn't legalize marijuana in any way, shape, or form, and in no way sanctions its use as a recreational drug. It has nothing to do with it. Just as the prescription painkillers may have legitimate uses, but can also do irreversible damage and never, if you look at some of the damage that can be caused, wreck lives, and if it's abused, it's never safe to use powerful controlled substances in recreational manners, and especially in this case, if you take a look, illegal and unregulated drugs, very, very bad thing. So I've always told my children, don't take drugs, no drinking, no smoking, and just stay away from drugs. I have been, they would look at me and they said, Dad, would you stop saying that? I would say it every time I looked at it practically. Young Americans are especially at risk, so unless a drug is recommended by a doctor for medical reasons, just don't do it. At the same time, the facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered in some cases. This may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers, and they cause tremendous problems. This can do it in a much lesser way, can make people feel much better that are living through tremendous pain and problems. 40 states and multiple U.S. territories have already recognized the use of medical marijuana. This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe. We're also asking Congress to reconsider its classification of hemp-derived CBD to ensure seniors can access CBD products they have found beneficial for pain and other reasons. Some people are literally dying, and dying with tremendous pain, and this can, in many cases, literally stop it. And they have their senses about them, as opposed to painkillers, which don't allow that, don't allow them to die with dignity, frankly. I promise to be the president of common sense, and that is exactly what we're doing. This is really something having to do with common sense. And it's something having to do with the fact that so many people that I respect ask me to do it. People that are having problems, big problems. They are having big problems with illness, with cancer in particular. I now want to ask Dr. Oz to say a few words, followed by Dr. Braun, Dr. Casarett, Dan Wiley, and Dr. Volkow. And we'll sign the order as soon as they're complete, and we'll take some questions. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you for always bravely pushing for common sense change, as you call it. So President Trump, Secretary Kennedy have been pushing for change. They're passionate in their desire to help the American people, and they have relentlessly pursued this agenda throughout this administration. This also includes a deep passion for research, gold standard research, as Secretary Kennedy also says. But there's another side to the president that often isn't reflected in media reports, and that's the deep passion he has for the people in his life. And he has called me frequently
a lot of people in the chat
about the people who are calling him, as he alluded to, who are saying that they've got problems and they got relief from some of the solutions we're talking about today. Howard Kessler, who's standing behind me here, who's a mutual friend of ours, was an early caller of the president. Many others have ever reached out as well. And Howard's been a passionate advocate for avoiding narcotics, especially in seniors, and particularly seniors suffering from cancer. And that's a population that is a very important one, and it's a sympathetic population that's desirous of trying new ways besides some of the conventional approaches that have been tested by pharmaceutical companies but have untoward side effects. At the beginning of the year, one of the first things the president told me, he doesn't actually tell you, he demanded from me, that my agency, CMS...
Nobody demands from him. No. Nobody. You have to know him.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Use the whole tools at his wherewithal to find a better way to help seniors. A passion for a population that has gotten left behind with these discussions. I promised that we would find an answer, even though it had not been done before. And today we are delivering on that promise. Today, our Innovation Center at CMS is announcing a new model and additional actions to give seniors access to cannabinoids. These are CBDs. They're non-addictive, which many are already using to manage pain. There's some clinical evidence that's showing that CBDs provide relief from common conditions that affect Americans, including cancer symptoms and chronic pain and a slew of other problems that affect disproportionately seniors and our veterans. And 6 in 10 people who use the CBDs report that they improve their pain. I think all of those people are calling the president, judged on the number of calls in support of what we're doing today. And sometimes these decisions are difficult, and there's a reason this hasn't happened before, and there's a reason, Mr. President, that every president before you has whiffed on this issue. It's tough. And I know there's going to be a lot of discussion about it. That's why we're so passionate about making it clear that this patchwork that we're working within now, the laws and regulations, they're leaving patients and doctors without adequate guidance on the safeguards of how to use these products, even though they're still being used. At Medicare, we cover 68 million Americans, including people under the age of 65. And they did not have a way of providing these treatments until today. With the president's insistence, that's all changes. The Innovation Center models are going to allow millions of Americans on Medicare to become eligible to receive CBD as early as April of next year, and at no charge, if their doctors recommend them. Thanks to the hard work of the entire CMS team, especially Abe Sutton and Gita Dio at the Innovation Center, the accountable care organizations in this country working in Medicare will be able to provide these products, again, at no cost to patients. Medicare Advantage insurers, and we've been calling them, are also agreeing to consider CBD to be used for the 34 million Americans that they cover. If you can hear my voice and you're over 65, you should pay attention to this executive order because it's going to touch your life. Again, this all becomes active after the first quarter of next year. These CBD products must first meet local and state quality and safety standards. They must come from legitimate sources, and they must abide by other regulations of those states. With these boxes checked, patients can be eligible for up to $500 of hemp-derived products each year. This is the first government-led testing of quality and outcomes for patients across different conditions, and it delivers on the need for more data collection and research into hemp usage. CMS is going to collect data, that's our job, on the patients that are being given these products by their physicians. And in accordance with all the privacy and security regulations, we're going to analyze that data. We're going to make it publicly available to everybody to be able to analyze with us. If it shows promise, we will expand access to these products to even more conditions amongst Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries. I want to thank not just the Secretary, but Marty McCary. We want a lot of companies who are doing this research that approach the FDA for formal approval. That is the right way to move forward. And Jay Bhattacharya, who's hiding in the back, he rarely hides, but Jay runs NIH, and he's agreed to support initiatives to study the data that we're collecting. Howard Kessler, God bless you for being a pain in our sides. Mr. President, he's promised to stop calling you. But on this issue, we'll call you on other issues. And I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for taking a difficult stance.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Mr. President, members of the Cabinet, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and for your leadership in rescheduling cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. This decision will accelerate scientific research and expand what can responsibly be studied. I'm a cancer psychiatrist and medical cannabis researcher at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Over the past decade, federal investment in research has helped transform cancer care. People are living longer than ever before. But cancer care is not only about treating the tumor, it's also about addressing the anxiety, the fear, the stress that can come with a diagnosis, symptoms that can interfere with treatment and make recovery much more difficult. Many medications we use for acute anxiety carry significant risks, particularly in the older adults. That's why we're studying specific natural compounds found in cannabis, including the non-addictive cannabidiol, to understand whether they can safely and effectively help manage anxiety during cancer treatment. Rescheduling allows us to ask these questions rigorously about dosing, about safety, and who may benefit most. This research reflects the best of federal investment, helping people not only live longer, but live better. Thank you, Mr. President, for supporting careful, science-based research that puts patients first.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. That's beautiful. Thank you.
I'll add my vote of thanks, Mr. President. I never really thought this day would come. I met a patient about 20 years ago, a retired professor named Elizabeth, who came to my clinic. She was dying of pancreatic cancer, and she asked me then whether cannabis might help her. And I said no, because that's what I learned in medical school. She reached into her briefcase, took out a 3-inch tall stack of articles, put them down on my desk, and said, "Really, doctor? You should read these. You might learn something." And I did read those articles, every single one, and found a bunch more. And I did learn something. I learned that there actually is some medical benefit to cannabis that I had not anticipated, never heard about in medical school.
Anxiety,
Second,
like
I
a
learned
bit.
that there was a lot we don't know. And third, I learned it's really, really, really difficult to do high-quality, randomized controlled trials of a substance that's federally illegal. This rescheduling has the potential to change all of that and to rewrite the way that we do research related to cannabis in the United States in 3 ways. First of all, it'll democratize the research process so that all academic institutions can participate in research, not just elite academic medical centers. Number 2, it'll give patients and researchers access to highly refined, reliable sources of cannabis rather than relying on 1 or 2 sources around the country. And last but not least, it'll let us do the sorts of large-scale randomized controlled trials that we do in oncology and cardiology.
They're about to break up the cartel, man.
Hundreds or thousands of patients. That's how we learn. That's how we produce valuable knowledge that's useful in guiding treatment decisions. Mr. President, without you, this never would have been possible. And my patients and I and all of our families are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, very much. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I am Dan Wiley, National Commander of the American Legion, representing 1.5 million veterans. We are the largest veterans organization. We have 2.5 million members of our American Legion family. And I want to start by thanking you for your leadership on this issue. This issue is extremely important to the American Legion. I want to thank you on behalf of the veterans who are going to benefit from potentially the research regarding this issue. Also want to thank you for your VA Secretary, Secretary Collins, and his work on difficult veterans issues with us this past year. The VA has worked with us on our Be the One mission, which is a mission to fight the epidemic of veteran suicide.
Yeah, big issue.
Veterans are disproportionately affected by conditions such as PTSD, TBI, depression, and chronic pain. And with this reclassification, it will allow research to be conducted with regard to cannabis. There is anecdotal evidence that cannabis benefits these conditions, and now we'll have an opportunity to see if research does prove that it is effective. And if it is so, then it'll open up a whole new method of treatment for our veterans with regard to this particular issue. And so, again, I just want to thank you for your leadership and thank you on behalf of the American Legion for this executive order.
Thank you. Such great people.
Thank you very much.
That have suffered and will suffer a lot less now.
You're right.
Based on what I hear.
Good
Anybody
afternoon.
else, please?
I'm Nora Volkow. I'm Director National Institute on Drug Abuse. And for us, the rescheduling opens the door to actually be able to accelerate the rate at which we can do research and discovery. And research is crucial in order for us to, for example, understand what may be and for whom the dangers of cannabis. Yes, cannabis can be addictive. And certainly people, adolescents and
Cannabis.
children may be the most vulnerable. But we cannot close our eyes to research and the opportunity that we are here.
I need to call my plug. I need some cannabis. That's probably the best breakdown phonetically of marijuana. Cannabis. I need some cannabis. Hey, let me know in the chat if you need some. Let's get back to it.
From patients that for some of them cannabis can solve their problem.
Cannabis.
And so what we need to do is do research, number one, to understand what are those conditions, number two, in order to be able to optimally learn how to use it, and to understand, number three, who is at danger. And it is knowledge that will allow us to optimally take the benefits that may be behind cannabis, as research shows,
cannabis.
But on the other hand, also enable us better to do prevention interventions to protect those that are most vulnerable. So thanks very much.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Normalized racism. Okay.
I'll just echo, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Notice
for
there's
your
no black doctors in there.
And finally getting to closure on this issue. This is a question, a scientific question, that has divided our country for many, many years. And there are valid claims on both sides. On one side, patients and physicians attest that cannabinoids and THC can have miraculous effects on chronic pain, on epilepsy, on PTSD, on chemotherapy-induced nausea. My friend Howard Kessler, without whom we wouldn't be here today, drove this change in the schedule, and he did it because of his own experience in mitigating the impacts of chemotherapy. He has nothing to gain from this. He just saw something that worked for him, that worked for thousands of other Americans, and he wants to make it available to them. On the other side, there are valid claims about the negative impacts, about addiction, about psychosis, about adverse public health impacts, and impacts particularly on young people. So we haven't the evidence on all of these is anecdotal and it's hypothetical because we have not been able to do scientific studies. There is no standardized dosing. And if you don't have standardized dosing, any study that you do is comparing apples to pears. And we don't know the difference between botanicals and synthetics, and all of these questions we're now going to be able to answer.
You say a lot of
5
tricky words.
administrations have promised to act on this issue. The Biden administration promised to do this, and the proposal began during the Biden administration. It got mired down in the chaos and inertia and disorganization of that. And I want to thank President Trump, who made the promise during the 2024 election that he was going to come in and solve this issue, that he was going to take decisive action, and he has kept that promise today. And so thank you, for President Trump, for your vision. And because of that, we will have answers very soon. This will finally allow us to study this issue and to answer these questions for the American people.
Thank you very much, Bob. Howard Kessler, a friend of mine, one of the most successful people in the country, came to see me on more than one occasion, actually, and he had some real difficulty about 3.5, 4 years ago, and he went through hell. And during his going through hell, he probably sampled everything you can sample when you're going through that, Howard. Sure. And
what?
He came to me, he said, there's been nothing like this, and we're going to have to take a good, strong look at it, and that's what he asked me to do. And others have likewise said that, many others. I mean, you know, again, it's, I've never been inundated by so many people as I have about this particular reclassification. And I don't know that you have anything to say, Howard. If you'd like, you could say whatever you like.
I just want to help the people 65 and over and make a difference in
65 and
their
over.
lives. And we have machines and talent that could do it, not in 8-year clinical trials, but in a year. And we're going to prove that to change the world, really, in healthcare. So thank you, Mr. President.
And I'm
Yes,
far
healthcare,
younger
right.
than 65, so this does not pertain to me. Thank you. I don't want it, okay? I'm not going to be taking it, but a lot of people do want it. A lot of people need it, and thank you, Howard, for really opening a lot of eyes. Okay, we'll sign it. We'll take some questions from the press. You can ask the doctors some questions, and it's an honor to do this. Well, that's a good one.
Now there it is, the executive order signed. Now somebody in the chat asked earlier, what does this really mean? What it means is that marijuana is no longer considered a high-risk drug. It's now considered a low-risk drug. So now they can do more studies on it, and now we'll see how interesting it'll be
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
if any legislation actually push
questions?
forward from this.
Mr. President,
Yes.
a health-related question on your health care plan. You've said you want to make direct payments to Americans, but these Obamacare subsidies are expiring now in a matter of just a few days. More than 20 million Americans are now bracing for their premiums to skyrocket. Are you going
Because
to
of
let this
Obama.
happen, or
Yeah,
will you
because-
intervene?
Yeah, they will skyrocket because it was never any good. I'd like to see the money that is going to the insurance companies by the hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, their stocks are up 1,400%, 1,800%, and 1,624%. Their stocks are up through the roof over a fairly short period of time because they're getting vast amounts of money. I want that money to go to the people directly and let the people buy their own health care. And they'll get much better health care than they get with the Unaffordable Care Act, as it's known by a lot of people. It is virtually unaffordable for people. It's a bad thing. We can have a great thing. Let the money go directly to the people and let them buy their own health care.
This is an urgent problem, Mr. President. Is there anything you can do now, Mr. President?
Can I answer, Mr.
This is going to be right now, as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead.
We just got data today. We have federal exchanges where people come shopping for the ACA. And the president hasn't heard this yet, but we've talked to the team. The percentage change from last year was down 2.7 to 2.8%. Not the massive numbers that have been predicted. And there's many possible reasons for this, but right now Americans are signing up for these programs despite all the things that have been going on. 2.8% is a tiny fraction of what many had claimed would happen, and I think it speaks to the fact the American people appreciate these ACA plans are already subsidized over 80%. So it's a good deal, even if you don't get the extra 15-20%.
It's a great solution to much better health care at a much lower cost. Yeah, please.
But do you want Congress to extend these ACA subsidies?
Well, I'd like not to be able to do it. I'd like to get right into this, and I'd ask Oz this question in particular, but I'd like to see us get right into this. I don't know why we have to extend. This could be done rapidly if the Democrats would come along. We have a problem. The insurance companies own the Democrat Party. They own it.
Here you go.
And the Democrats having a hard time. They give a lot of money to the Democrats. Very little money to Republicans, by the way. A lot of money to Democrats. And they're going to have to decide, do they want to do the right thing, or do they want to be beholden to the insurance companies? They're making a fortune. I want the money to go to the people. Go ahead, Oz. How would you say that?
I agree with the president. We have some ideas out there. Congress is working through some concepts. But I just want to emphasize that the ACAs are not imploding based on the data we just received from the federal marketplace.
This can go very quickly, actually. Yes, please.
Mr. President, can I ask you clarify something for me on the Federal Reserve? How many people are you interviewing for the Fed chairman, and what did you think of Chris Waller?
I think he's great. I mean, he's been a man who's been there a long time, somebody that I was very involved with in the sense of his career, and he's a fantastic man. I met him yesterday, again.
So how many people are you looking at?
We're talking to 3 or 4. I think every one of them would be a good choice, honestly. We'll be making a decision pretty quick.
Is Michelle Bowman on that list too, or you can interview her?
She's fantastic. She's a fantastic person.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some GOP lawmakers have written to you in recent days saying they're concerned this executive order could normalize drug use for youth. How would you respond to that?
You think about this particular today? Well, I think I'd let one of the doctors respond to it because they can do it a lot better than me. But I can only tell you that when you see polls of 82% of the people want this, when I have friends that are really, really sick and they've gone through, I guess you could say, unfortunately, I don't want to become too involved in it because I don't want it happening, but these are people that really know what's going on. Very smart people. This is one of the most successful people in the country and a very brilliant guy. And when they go through this horrible ordeal of cancer or other things, and they realize that this is something that makes them feel better without all of the side effects of some of the drugs where you're just totally knocked out and out of it. But I'd like to have one of the doctors maybe respond because you people do it better than anybody.
I'm happy to respond.
Yes.
I mean, and my answer is we have had cannabis scheduled for how long? And it hasn't protected
Cannabis.
neither the adolescents nor the adults. We have 20 million people in the United States with a cannabis use disorder. This is not legalizing it. It's making easier to do research so that we can use it when it is indicated and optimally.
So it's also a big part of this is research. In other words, you'll now have a much larger
Those are the
sample,
vets.
and you'll be able to see if it's as good
American
as many
Legion, I
people say
believe.
it is. I mean, people say it is beyond good, and you'll be able to find that out now.
On housing, you talked in your address last night about housing.
Yeah.
Are you still considering a national emergency over housing?
I'm looking at it.
What would
yeah,
that look
I'm
like?
looking
What would
at
that
it.
mobilize?
You know, there's two thoughts on housing. You have a lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market, their houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for their house. At the same time, I want to make it
I appreciate you, Miss Personality.
possible for
Happy holidays.
young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden, and it drives the housing prices down. So I want to take care of the people that have houses that have a value to, to the house that they never thought possible, that have sort of made them wealthy and happy, and especially in their later years. Got to be careful with that. I want to keep them up. At the same time, I want to make it possible for people to go buy houses. Daniel, please.
Mr. President, you announced the Warriors Dividend last night in your primetime speech. Very patriotic, very generous. What was the rationale and the thought process? How did you come up with the idea? What made you want to give back to
Well,
our
the
troops?
1776 was easy to come up with because we're actually at 1775. The number was 1775, and I said, wow. I think we could afford one more dollar. But they came up to me, it was $1,775. So I said, well, let's add a dollar to it. I think we can find that. And very simple, we've had a military that, in my opinion, by other presidents was not treated well. They're incredible. They're our finest people. They're protecting us. And because of tariffs, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars more than we ever have before, with no inflation, by the way, with no inflation. You saw the inflation numbers. They just came out today. What great timing. Practically no inflation. And yet we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And this is small potatoes by comparison, but it's a way of taking care of our warriors, our soldiers. And I appreciate that question, Daniel.
Yeah, and Caroline,
it was an easy one.
Loaded questions.
She just posted on X, your press secretary, that the board members of the Kennedy Center voted unanimously to rename it the Trump Kennedy Center. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I was honored by it. The board is a very distinguished board, most distinguished people in the country. And I was surprised by it, and I was honored by it. We're saving the building. We saved the building. The building was in such bad shape, both physically, financially, and every other way, and now it's very solid, very strong. We have something going on television, I guess on the 23rd December. I think it's going to get very big ratings, and the Kennedy Center is really back strongly. It's in very bad shape, very, very bad shape physically. And we're also to get Congress to put up a lot of money and other people to put up
Donald
a lot
Trump
of money.
is
A lot of
trying to
donors
block
come in
state.
for record-setting numbers. So we saved the Kennedy Center, and I was really, this was brought up by one of the very distinguished board members, and they voted on it, and there's a lot of board members, and they voted unanimously, so I was very honored by it. Thank you.
Mr. President, will you be seeking any authorization from Congress for any land attacks on cartels in Venezuela?
Oh, here we go.
For any?
Land attacks on drug cartels in Venezuela.
I wouldn't mind telling them, but it's not a big deal. I don't have to tell them. It's been proven. But I wouldn't mind at all. I just hope they wouldn't leak it. People leak it. They are politicians and they leak like a sieve. But I'd have no problem doing that.
On that, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
Mr. President, there's a meeting this weekend on Ukraine in Florida. What are you hoping will come out of that meeting?
Well, they're getting close to something, but I hope Ukraine moves quickly. I hope Ukraine moves quickly because Russia's there. And, every time they take too much time, then Russia changes their mind. 27,000 soldiers were killed last month. Think of that. What do you think of that, doctors? 27,000, it's like a half a football stadium, were killed in 1 month. And it's that way. It's anywhere between 20 and 30,000, mostly soldiers, also some people from Kiev and other places. But largely, it's the soldiers. They're losing their lives. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's the worst.
Man, Trump started 10 wars. Stop this one, Trump.
You've heard me say I settled 8 wars, some going on for 35 years, one going on for 37, one going on for 32. And 8
You
wars,
say a lot of tricky
I thought
words.
this would be an easier one. This is because of the animosity, the hatred. It's a little bit more difficult than we thought, but there's a chance we can get this done maybe soon. Remember that 25 to 30,000 people being killed a month, young people being killed a month. Steve, please.
When do you expect to make your announcement about
I gotta clip that one, y'all.
before the end of the year? What do you think?
Over the next couple of
Gotta
weeks.
clip
I don't
that
know
one.
Before the end of the year.
Hilarious.
And then the Rocky Mount, North Carolina tomorrow night. Tell us what your message is going to be there.
You say what?
When you go to Rocky Mount, North Carolina tomorrow night, what's your message going to be?
Well, it's not going to be that much different from what I did last night. I mean, we've had tremendous success. We're bringing prices down. We inherited a mess. And part of what we inherited was the worst inflation in 48 years. I say history, but we had the worst inflation. It drove prices up. And now we're bringing those prices down. But I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about the fact that we secured the border, where literally nobody can come into our country illegally anymore. They came in from prisons and mental institutions and drug dealers and, a lot of bad people from all over the world. Venezuela emptied their prisons into our country. We had Tren de Aragua, which supposedly, the doctors don't know this, it's the meanest gang of them all. Okay, doctor? You don't have to know about it. You got other problems. But they let a lot of bad people in here. And so I think I'll be talking about that. I think I'll be talking about the tremendous success we have by sending the National Guard into various cities. D.C. is the ultimate example. People walk to work and they thank me all the time. People in the White House, they just walk to the White House from 10 blocks away. Before I came into office, they couldn't do that. They were getting badly hurt in many cases and beyond hurt, killed. So we were losing people. We were losing, on average, a person a week. Can you believe it? More.
Happening now.
And now we haven't lost anybody in a long time. I consider the 2 people that got so badly hurt, the National Guard, that's a different city. That was terrorism. And probably terrorism, maybe terrorism, because they were unhappy with the tremendous success we've had, because they don't want to see this country be successful. But Washington, D.C. now is a safe, beautiful city where the restaurants are booming, the town is booming. People walk to the restaurants with their wife or their children and have a good time. We were losing all the restaurants. We were losing our life in this. We were just the whole heritage of Washington, D.C. was down the drain, and we brought it back. And now everybody's thrilled to be here. It's the hottest. It's a part of the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've become, in 10 months, the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I say it all the time, we were a dead country 1.5 years ago.
Do you expect to meet Prime Minister Netanyahu while you're down in Palm?
Yeah, he would like to see me. We haven't set it up formally, but he'd like to see me. We've had great success. Peace in the Middle East, aside from everything else. We now have peace in the Middle East. Yeah, he'll probably come to see me.
Peace in Ukraine, though.
I'd love to have him. El-Sisi, he's a friend of mine. Yeah, I'd love to have him. Thank you very much, everybody.
So this was yesterday's press conference. We're still waiting on President Trump's announcement today, his live announcement today. and I have a screen up waiting on them to go live there. I have a couple others, but also more than anything, I haven't announced it yet. Thank y'all for tapping in. I am a hip hop lobbyist, a professional lobbyist in the state of Florida. I've been in the Florida's political process for 15 years, right? And I can't believe I'm actually a vet. I've never wanted to do this. Never ran for SGA president. Never really put out my name on the ballot purposefully or really saw the need to be a title, but I fell into politics. And I'm one of the dirty guys, they say, a lobbyist, right? People, the ones that they love to hate. But most people don't know political process, but it is what it is, right? Hold on, but we got President Trump going live. Okay. Like I promised. Let me flip this over. Give me 1 second, y'all. Trump ain't live yet. But that was yesterday's press conference. This one's happening here live in the White House. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Now, some people ask, what do I lobby for? I lobby for a lot of nonprofits, youth organizations that work with elderly and things of that nature. I really, after falling to the process, working for some of the biggest organizations and universities and things of that nature in the state, I was like, you know what? I want to give small businesses a seat at the table, and that's what I've been able to do. And I actually have a check presentation this Sunday in Aventura. If you follow me on Instagram, you can capture that, because I haven't really been putting out too much content about day-to-day life stuff, because I don't do too much, but I do a little bit, right? But we have a check presentation. We were able to get some funding for Holocaust survivors living in South Florida. We have this program, my client has this program, not we, but my client has a program that helps provide elder care services for seniors, Holocaust survivors specifically. And, you know, it's just a good, feel-good thing to say, hey, how can I at least help you do your job better? I don't get caught in the weeds of the nonsense. Everything else, my job is to say, okay, how are the human beings that, you know, or opportunity in front of me that God's placed in front of me, how can I help, you know, continue my walk? And this is kind of my walk. But in April, we started streaming, lost a client. They canceled the contract early. No beef. It is what it is. It's business. Then I started streaming around the Cory Booker filibuster. And all of a sudden, we've gone from right under 400 subscribers to right above 8,000. I haven't checked the numbers today, but I appreciate every single one of y'all said. But if it's your first time here, please make sure you like and subscribe. I have been inconsistent with the stream. My apologies, inconsistent with the content. I need to get better. I'm thinking about developing my Black History Month. Probably I kind of dabbled with it last year. I didn't go all the way through with it, but this year, if I get enough time, which I will through the holidays, record it all, batch it all, and just have it scheduled and ready to go, right? But I appreciate every single one of y'all again. Let me know where you're tapping in from. One thing that I do like to do is at least let people know where you're watching the stream from. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida today. And the gas price I saw this morning was $2.99. So if you could, because President Trump may say the gas price is $2.50. He may say it's $1.79. He may say other things. One day he said the price of eggs was somewhere, and somebody told me that they buy, in the chat, 4 dozen packs of eggs every week. My wife and I will buy a pack, a 12 dozen pack. That bill may last us until it expires, okay? But other things. So we like to at least compare and contrast the visitors or viewers that are here with us during the stream and what the president's saying. And, you know, he's been an hour late. This is supposed to start at 1 o'clock, at 2 o'clock. We'll probably go till about 3:30, 4 o'clock today, maybe 5. We may go all night. I got to do pickup. But if it changes, we may go all the way till 9 o'clock tonight if I find enough news to cover. Because there's some legislation out there I want to discuss. Some other things that are important overall in the overall quality of life. But the biggest thing, I guess I can share this while we wait on the president, is I started this channel because my 15 years of experience in politics made me realize there's a disconnect. Like, I was literally meeting in a city the other day with a Democratic member and a Republican council member. And we were talking about removing a Democratic person from office, right? And it's just funny to see how everybody behind closed doors can be friendly politically. But when it comes to actual, you know, hating you and all of the stuff, how people drive the narrative, it's like, you know what, damn, it's ugly. It's ugly to see that people can be so fake in politics that all of a sudden it's like, you know what, hey, yeah, it's racism, rah, 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 hate each other. But if we need a deal to get cut, if we're working together, like, hey, yeah, we're friendly. Y'all could beef, but we're friends behind closed doors. And that's one thing I hated about the process And I think the freedom I get is I've been self-employed, solopreneur, partner with firms as I need to, right? But at the same time, it's like there's not a lot of freedom for people in this process to say what they want and also, you know, respect their clients' ability to maintain traction in this process. So what I do is I don't cover a lot of Florida politics, right? Because I don't want to say anything to offend anybody. In my process, that could put my clients in jeopardy. However, I am going to talk about issues that relate to Florida in a national scale, but also issues that, you know, we'll kind of get there. But I told myself by Christmas, we're hoping that we can reach 10,000 subscribers by Christmas or around the new year at least. If we can get to 2026 with 10,000 subscribers, that'll be great because our goal next year is 100,000. And our goal by the next presidential cycle is to have a presidential candidate come through this channel. So that means that we're in stages and growth. So right now we're in the bull run stage of growing the channel. And at least saying, okay, let's at least try to consistently grow, have a unique experience, a unique conversation, and go from there. And I have been reading the chat, so while, if anything, we'll wait on the president, and I'll keep the president up. Let me check the chat, see what y'all talking about today. Sometimes the chat, honestly, somebody said earlier, hey, the chat's full of bots. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. There are a lot of people here who show up who be on that bullshit. And I just let them moderate until it gets too crazy, right? Mr. Personality, 7762, appreciate you tapping in. I'm trying to do this more consistently as well. Streaming on a Canvas and vertical. So if a lot of y'all on vertical, if you want to switch over, you can go to the YouTube channel as well and switch over and you can watch the Canvas stream. Everyone else who's enjoying the vertical for what it is, I appreciate y'all here. Hey, Abdul, people don't understand Trump's trying to do things. Liberal judges and the liberal media are always getting in the way, challenging him. Richard, that's very true. Process. The judges have processes, and all of a sudden, a lot of things implementing or hurting Trump's ability right now is process than anything. Gas is always cheaper in the winter. Good point, Nick. Not now. If meat would follow suit, 10 pounds for hamburgers is $55. Ridiculous. Yes. 213 in Wyoming. Oh wait, $1.98 gas in the Texas Panhandle. That's pretty good. Damn, $1.98. That's I would move. Texas is looking pretty attractive. My wife's a teacher too, so Texas could be real attractive. Can we get there? If we grow the channel big enough and the ad revenue's coming in, we may move. We may get the fuck up out of here. Richard, I think he's complaining about process, but I'm gonna get back to the chat. Let me get back through. Hey, $6.89 a gallon here. Where is here? Hummerville, Georgia. What's going on, James? Thanks for tapping in. 234 in Tennessee. Okay, I like Tennessee. Nashville. What part of Tennessee? Murfreesboro. I mean, with somebody the other day. They're right from. I was on the Disney cruise. They were right outside of that area, outside of south of Nashville. Tennessee, 234, 227. Maybank, Texas. All American, 299, Michigan. Gas and I don't talk about Alzheimer's. Trump called the Montreal cognitive assessment very, very hard. Lowering drug prices 600%. Oh, 600. Alzheimer's on the Article 25 needs to be enacted. I'll send back to prison. We're waiting on a good old president. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Jack Smith should be in prison. Yeah, you know what? I guess he should. I really haven't, honestly watched it. I know Jack Smith's name has come up several times. And that's the thing I was saying earlier when I started the stream, mental health thing, right? The biggest problem I have lately has been balancing, like, damn, okay, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a provider, I'm a business owner, lobbyist, government affairs. It's timing different schedules, right? And it's a fact of how do you balance your day-to-day life of what you do on top of the content, on top of like, damn, you get people from all over the world who say positive and some sideways shit. And it's like, okay, there needs to be a mental break part because this is just your day-to-day part on top of everyday news shit. It's like, okay, am I chasing headlines? Am I chasing Jasmine Crockett news? Am I chasing Trump? Am I chasing whatever the fuck's breaking, Chicago and Palm Beach, wherever? And it's like, you know what? Damn, no. There needs to be kind of a semblance of the show. And some people have asked, hey, what are we talking about? What are we doing here? And a part of it is, right now I'm in the growing phase until we get to 10,000. and then I want to get more into the policy pieces. Like there's a bill right now in Florida for content creators, right? I want to say Senate Bill 980 by Senator Ileana Garcia, great member in the Senate, Florida Senate, Republican member, but great overall. And the language of the bill essentially says, okay, if you're a content creator and you happen to be getting paid from a foreign government, you need to disclose that to the Department of Business, Revenue, and Professional Regulations, right? Okay, cool. How does this impact someone who may not be working for a foreign government that they know of, but all of a sudden you find out TikTok or Alibaba or someone else that you're kind of content creating for, getting paid through whatever, like you have to disclose that. And then what does that kind of look like on a description basis or Instagram, YouTube, or description, like, you know, all the different lineups, because what the bill's trying to do is have Florida law line up with the FTC rules and regulations, right? Which basically say, okay, cool, if you're a content creator working for a foreign government, let's go ahead and have a conversation here. But the issue ends up being, how does that narrative get pulled in? Because even now, I'm quite sure everybody in Florida has seen the license plate tag situation. Now, I personally have not had a cover around my tag. I didn't, first off, my thing was, one, I didn't want to broadcast anybody else's business, because typically it's always like, hey, wherever you bought your car, we're going to let you know where the person got their car from with the tag, right? So I'm like, hey, F that. I got a personalized tag. I want them to see the whole tag. Fuck that, like bare, raw. But then got this new law about, hey, you can't cover portions of the tag. And I remember this being debated in committee and debated on the floor. I want to say, I could be wrong here, but I want to say Senator Audrey Gibson, I remember her debate about this. And the issue is, like, you end up having college tags and all these other things. And I think they kind of debated the fact of, hey, as long as we can read the middle and everything else, we'll be fine. The issue ends up being these scammers will put like these sprays or plastic covers or different things over the license plate, which makes it hard for tracking. Now, here's the thing, like, oh, it's kind of boring, right? No, it's not. Like, remember they killed Julio Fulio, right? All due respects, I'm not in that beef. But if you watch the true crimes, when you realize that, okay, cool, check this out. When they killed the man in the parking lot or shot him up in the parking lot, you realize that those are all Tesla cameras that captured them, right? Then as you watch the case, you see the Ring cameras. And then one of the things of it is to help, hey, here's how when they left Jacksonville, cell phone tower pings. Also, when you're driving through these metal structures that just look like a sign, some of them have cameras. And that's how they're able to track you as well. So all put together through all these different government contracts people get and organizations get, that's how they end up getting caught up, right? So a part of it is, I forgot where I was going there for a second. A part of it is a lot of this shit kind of matters from a policy standpoint, from overall impact of like, okay, how do they get freedom to record this? What's the impact of why would they need my license plate cover and everything else like that? It's because, okay, in situations like this, a whole case can be thrown out potentially. Oh, you're saying that's my car, but look, that license plate doesn't even match this one. You can't even get the reader. Oh, they had a sensor over. And this is a very hypothetical situation, but it's one of those things that you really have to think about. But the greater issue is the confusion of the policy. Because I believe somebody in the media and some content creator saw it and said, hey, yeah, this is what it is. They had this whole spiral going. Everybody believes that the tag covers will be illegal. Now all of a sudden everybody's correcting it, which now is going to most likely cause one whole bill, because you only get 6 slots in the House from House members, and unlimited members in the Senate can file. Well, a senator can file an unlimited number of bills. But the issue ends up being, now this is a bill slot that has to be like a technical change to make sure that all law enforcement knows that you won't be banned for it. I think it's like a 60-day in jail fine. Somebody said, hey, they were already arrested for this issue in Florida. The bullshit is, if you want to be for real, they weren't just arrested for the license plate. Hello. They weren't just arresting people for, hey, you have a legal tag reader or whatever, right? They were saying, or your tag was covered, not a legal tag blocker. They're basically saying like, hey, let's say you have Schedule 1 weed in the car, or your license is suspended, or you had another moving violation. Oh, your license is suspended and you have this tag thing blocked, or whatever. Don't just say, hey, the tag is the reason I got locked up, which is absolutely crazy to me. But we'll have to read the police report. One thing I'll say, I know I've been rambling here for a bit. Thank y'all for tapping in. Trump scheduled this thing for 1 o'clock. It's about 2 o'clock. Now, people talk about CP time. Black people will be late, right? The president be late. Do you know I was actually supposed to have, and this is politicians too, no disrespect, nobody. I was supposed to have a meeting yesterday with an elected official. I was supposed to have a live stream. I didn't announce it because I'm like, you know what? These politicians' schedules are unpredictable, right? Because it gets to a point of, yes, respect people's time, show up on time, but sometimes shit just happens. Just like you happen to be tapping in on the stream today. So what I'm gonna do is wait on President Trump, but I'm gonna switch over to some other news for now because we are looking at people just standing at the podium. Right? So one thing I'll do is strategy, right? I always talk about having some kind of political strategy in things, right? And I talked about it earlier, but in Georgia, set this up. In Georgia, one of the greatest things that happened from the last election cycle was, well, the special elections or whatever, is that they elected 2 new members to the Public Service Commission, right? Now, they happen to be black members of the Public Service Commission. And they're like, you know what? Great. This is amazing. We finally get some representation on energy, utilities, with data centers and all these different things that are going to be on the grid and how it impacts people on fixed incomes and low incomes and also the future modernization of the American grid. But also opens up the fact of saying, all right, cool. What other policy things can happen out here that can mess up the dream that you thought was, you know, like, hey, yeah, it's over. We won now, right? We're never going to win. Like, we're going to win, but another way we think. But let's check this out.
Important meeting on how Georgia is going to provide power to its growing supply of data centers.
The Public Service Commission is set to vote soon on whether Georgia Power can massively increase its power capacity, which could impact your utility bills. Atlanta News First Niamani Watson is live in downtown Atlanta with more on what's going on during the meeting.
Yeah, right now, the Public Service Commission is hearing from residents, businesses, and organizations before voting on the plan. And so far, there have been mixed feelings about it. Now, if approved by the Public Service Commission, Georgia Power will be allowed to generate 10 gigawatts of new electricity to serve the state's rapidly growing data center industry. Under a stipulated agreement, Georgia Power says it will take on any financial risk from the plan. Georgia Power also says the projected revenue from data center energy usage will actually save customers roughly $9 a month between 2029 and 2031. Still, some people say there needs to be more transparency and protections in place for customers. So far, we've heard from those both for and against the plan.
$9 a month.
I highly recommend y'all think about what this means for our communities, right? We have seen the research that data centers are not good for our communities.
$9 a month. Now, I'm not saying any kind of savings isn't good. Cool. But $9 a month? Are we being for real? Like $108 a year. Cool, right? That sounds amazing, but no, not for the whole data centers, not for the quality of air that you're probably going to lose in the community. This is absolutely wild. Absolutely wild to me, right? What else do we have while we're waiting on Big Trump, man? I have some Elizabeth Warren. Like, I thought this was going to be something else. I thought they were going to expand the PSC. But this is a big issue to discuss as well.
And if we're being
Hold on.
Very happy.
Got Big Trump speaking.
I thought I'd start by announcing 2 things. This is the gold card that, as you know, the Secretary of Commerce and myself and some others have been working on for quite a while.
Oh.
And Howard, how much have we sold in a few days?
$1,300,000,000 worth in a matter of a couple of days.
That's essentially it's the green card on steroids. And it's a pathway. And it's been an amazing thing. And as you know, millions of people pour into our country from the border. And not anymore, they don't know, nobody comes in actually anymore. But under the Biden administration, 25 million people came in. And they came from prisons and mental institutions, and they were drug dealers, and all sorts of people came in that shouldn't be here. They came from the jails. The jails all over the world, the Congo. And now when they come in, they have to pay $1 million. And
that's crazy.
This surge, and you're going to be happier than anybody because you're when you go to Harvard and the Wharton School of Finance and all of the great schools and you want to hire somebody and then you find out that, I'm sorry, they can't stay in our country for more than 24 hours. They graduate from the top schools. These people want to hire them. Now you're able to buy a card and you're able to keep people in the country. They can't keep people in the country. And they go to Canada, they go to other countries. A lot of times they go to Canada even though they work for the companies behind me. So now you're able to buy, the companies are able to buy the card. And
y'all see the Trump card, man?
For people coming in to our country so they can stay in our country instead of being immediately shipped out after graduating. They graduate number one in their class at the best school, and they want to go to work for Johnson & Johnson, as an example, who's not here today, who will be here next week. They're well represented here. But they want to go to work for one of the great companies behind me, and you learn they can't do that because they're shipped out of the country. They're not shipped out anymore. So your company will pay a little bit, but that's okay. You'll be able to get them. So I just wanted to, it's called the gold card, the Trump gold card.
Y'all see the Trump gold card?
And you've taken in just a few days, you've taken in over $1 billion.
Do they have a tap?
That goes all toward reducing debt, goes into the Treasury of the United States. And I thought I'd do this before we start on Most Favored Nations. I want to read this because I would have said it the other night, but I was not allotted too much time, actually. You had a couple of brand new shows opening, and I understand that. But I do want to say, and some people say, oh, you shouldn't say it. It sounds negative. To me, I think it sounds positive. The only reason our unemployment tucked up and went up to 4.5%.
Here we go.
Which it went up to 4.5%, which is quite a low number, but still, is because we are reducing the government workforce by numbers that have never been seen before. In other words, government jobs are way down. And as you know, we don't need 10 people to fill one job, which is what we had in government in many cases. So the government workforce, by numbers that have never been seen before, has been reduced very substantially, and it will continue to be reduced. 100% of our new jobs are in the private sector.
You say a lot of tricky
this
words.
Is for the last number of months. Think of that, 100%. Are you shocked to hear that?
You say a lot of tricky words.
A lot of tricky words. I don't believe that.
That's the only way.
You believe that? All 100%?
Of new jobs are in the private sector. And I could reduce unemployment to 2%, 1%, or practically zero by just hiring people into the federal government, even though those jobs are not necessary, which is what we had before. We had millions and millions of people having jobs that they never even showed up. So I wish that the media would report that the 4.5% is an amazing number. And again,
hey, Miss
if they don't
Katz.
report it, I guess maybe I'll just let some people go into the federal workforce. It'll look really wonderful. And what we're doing is the only way you can do it to make a country great. You have to, you can't have the government jobs, you have to have the private sector jobs. And these are among the biggest hires of private sector. So we have reduced the federal workforce by tremendous hundreds of thousands of people. And that reflects in unemployment, but that will be used up very quickly. And we've 100% of the new jobs, which, by the way, it's a record-setting number of jobs, too, is in the private sector. And I think that'll get even stronger when these buildings being built all over the country, of which they're building some, too. But AI and auto plants and everything else, they're being built all over the country. When that happens, your numbers will be even better. But I would like you to report it the way it is. We don't do the federal workforce jobs. We're reducing that very substantially. I'm thrilled to be joined by the leaders of 9 of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers, all very big names, celebrities in their own right, very, very powerful people. And they head some of the most admired companies anywhere in the world. It's a great group. To announce that they've agreed to offer many of their flagship drugs, really all of their flagship drugs, at heavily discounted, most favored nations prices. In other words, whatever the drug sells for over the world, in the world, whatever the lowest number is, if it's Germany, if it's in UK, anywhere, we will match that price.
You say a lot of tricky
Right
words.
now, sometimes it's 10 times higher. We've been laughed at and scoffed at for years. For years. In fact, I was going to do it in my first term, but unfortunately, with the advent of COVID, as you would say, it was not, I don't think it was a very good time to be hitting up Spain, Italy, France, but now we're doing it. So the hardest thing to do was going to be to get a country to do it, because we would have a pill in New York that was for sale for $130, and you could buy it in Germany and France and Spain and someplace anyways. They set their own prices for $10. So we'd pay 10 or 13 times more, pay 5 times more, pay all different prices. Now, whatever the lowest price is. The pharmaceutical companies were difficult, but they also love our country. They knew it was unfair. But and they were great. I appreciate it. But the bigger problem was going to be the countries. How are you going to get the countries to do it? And we told them, if you don't do it, we're going to have to use tariffs, and we're going to charge you a 10% tariff, which is far more money than the money we're talking about. And they immediately agreed to do it. So we have all the foreign countries agreeing to do it. If we didn't have the use of tariffs, we would never be able to do this. But we used tariff, and they said, is it a threat? I said, yes, it is a threat. And they said, we will do it. And they dropped the price. So what's happening, because the world is bigger than the United States in terms of people, that same pill would go from $10 to $20 for them, which is an increase, but it wouldn't go to, midway. But it would go from $10 to $20. Ours would go from $130 to $20. So we dropped way down. They went up a little bit. And everyone knows.
Big tariffs, big Trump.
They, for years, would just say, no. As medicine got more expensive for us, it would stay. They said, nope, you can't sell it in this country. Let the United States pay. And we had other presidents, all of them, said, okay, we'll pay. So we were subsidizing the entire world. We're not doing it anymore. This is
You say a lot of tricky words.
Thing having to do with drugs in the history of the purchase of drugs. And I don't think the maybe press will treat it as a story. This is the biggest front page story that you'll ever see. This is a huge bearing too on the healthcare, because a big part of healthcare is drugs, pharmaceuticals, right, Oz? And this will have a tremendous impact on the reduction of health.
Oh, I see I have an audio issue. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on. Just saw I have an audio issue. My bad on that. A little technicality here and there. That ain't it. Trump live announcement. Bomb, we should be back. I don't know what's up with that.
Companies that make all that money, but
There we go. My bad on that.
Starting next year, American drug prices will come down fast and furious, and will soon be among the lowest in the developed world. So in other words, whatever the lowest price for a certain drug, of which these companies make much of it, whatever the lowest price is, that price will come down to that price. So we will get the lowest price anywhere in the world. If they're lower in England than they are in Germany, we take the England price. As of today, 14 out of 17 largest pharmaceutical companies have now agreed. 14 out of 17. Oh, those three they're in deep trouble. But actually, they've agreed, because I think those 3 companies are coming in at a different time next week. So they've agreed. Johnson & Johnson is one of them, right?
After the holidays.
Why? They couldn't do it faster?
No, we're going to be talking about Trump RX.
Oh, okay. Trump RX. Trump RX is doing well. As of today, 14 out of the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies, but they've all agreed, have now agreed to drastically lower drug prices for their American patients, for the American people and patients. This represents the greatest victory for patient affordability in the history of American healthcare by far, and every single American will benefit. So this is the biggest thing ever to happen on drug pricing and on healthcare. This will have a tremendous impact on healthcare itself. I want to thank Sanofi CEO Paul Hudson. Paul? Hi, Paul. I hope they have you in some order. I'll be checking.
Alphabetical, yes, but.
Okay, well, we'll do the best we can. Thank you, Paul. Great company, by the way. Novartis CEO Vas Narasimhan. Thank you very much, Vas. Great job. Genentech CEO Ashley Megaragri. Where are you, Ashley? How are you? Hi. Thank you very much. Great companies. Behringer Inky Mine President John Michael Boers. John Michael, thank you very much. Gilead CEO Dan O'Day. Dan? Thank you, Dan. Great job. That's a good company. Bristol Myers Squibb Executive Vice President Carrie Gallman. Carrie? Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. GSK CEO Emma Wormsley. Emma? Thank you very much, Emma. Great job.
Everybody who was sitting here waiting earlier.
Merck CEO Rob Davis. Great company. Thank you. Great.
Merck in the building. Okay.
CEO.
Big Merck.
Very good. You're doing a good job. And Amgen Executive Vice President and CFO Peter Griffith. Peter? Thank you, Peter, very much. Thank you very much. You okay? Fake news. We want you to be healthy.
That'd be funny. I don't care what you say, Bill. Trump funny.
The camera's not okay, but she's okay. That's more important. We have good medicine for you if you need some medicine. One of them can take good care of it. We're also joined by Secretaries Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Howard Lutnick, Ambassador, and really some incredible ambassadors, Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and the FDA Commissioner, Marty McCary. They're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. Good job. For decades, Americans have been forced to pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs by far, not just a little bit. We were like a whipping post, the United States, and it's just been 4% of the world's population. We have 4% of the world's population, and consumers pay only 13% of all prescription drugs, yet pharmaceutical companies make 75% of their profits. Think of that. So we have 4% of the population, 13% of prescription drugs, and yet the people behind me, who are wonderful people, make 75% of their profits from the American customer. So they understood that better than anybody, that we have to do something. That's why I signed an executive order instructing my administration to do everything in its power to slash prescription drug prices for Americans while getting other countries to pay more. And we don't want more, we want this fair. We want to pay the same thing. They used to blame it, remember, on research and development. And I said, well, research and development for everybody. And everybody understood it. As a result, the United Kingdom's National Health Service agreed to pay the fair share for prescription drugs for the first time in 26 years. And we expect other countries in Europe will do the same. And if they don't, we're going to put tariffs on them, and we'll get the same amount of money, plus we'll take a nice return on the money. We signed historic agreements with Pfizer, Eli Lilly, AstraZeneca, Novo Nordisk, and EMD, Serrano, to reduce prices by 300, 400, 500, 600, and even 700%, and sometimes even more than that. I remember when I had a news conference in my first term, I was the first president that reduced prices from the beginning of my term to a year, from January to December, 0.25%. And I thought it was the greatest thing, because it's the first one in 28 years. Now we're talking about numbers that are so incredible. 0.25%. Think of that. I was proud of it, because it hadn't happened in 28 where drug prices went down. Well, now you're going to see numbers that nobody would believe possible. Think of that. 500, 600, 700, 800%. Today we're building on these accomplishments. The companies assembled in this room have agreed to offer all of their drugs to Medicaid and most favored nations pricing. You're going to get most favored nations pricing, meaning they're going to pay our country the lowest price paid anywhere in the world.
You say a lot of tricky words.
And they will list their most popular drugs on TrumpRx.gov. TrumpRx.gov. And I didn't name it that. Somebody named it that.
If you with Obama is hilarious,
I guess
man.
they assumed that was, did you name it, Oz, or Bobby name it?
We all named it together.
Okay, well, I'm honored to have the name. And so far that's turned out because the numbers are so incredible. It's an honor. And you're going to get massive discounts to all consumers. So massive discounts will be not even offered. It's just going to be a fact. All consumers will get massive discounts. That's TrumpRx.gov. Every new drug produced by these companies in the future will permanently be offered to American patients at most favored nation prices. You know, people used to talk about that for years, but nobody ever did anything about it. No other president did. And it wasn't easy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But it worked
President
out
Trump
great. And I'm so proud of the people behind me. As an example of the price reductions we have secured through these new agreements, Sanofi will cut the cost of its
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
blood thinner, Plavix, from $750 to less than $16. Wow. Where's Sanofi? Where are you? What? That's incredible, huh? Could have gone to $17, maybe. That's amazing. And you're going to do tremendous business. You're going to do much more business. So that's coming from $750. Think of that, $750. And that's the number one blood thinner. I don't want to know about that. I take an aspirin.
What?
To less than $16. Think of that. Bristol-Myers Squibb, great company, both great companies, will cut the price of HIV medication, Rayurtaz, from nearly $1,500, $1,500 to $217. And it will cut the cost of hepatitis B medication, Baraclude, from $1,400 to $413. Gilead will cut the hepatitis C medication, Epclusa, from nearly $25,000 to less than $2,500. And all prices are like that because we're bringing them down to the world's lowest price, everything. And these people really are pioneers. What they're doing is so great. And in the end, they're going to do much more business, and it's. I think it's going to even out for them as a company. The countries will have to pay more, but even for them, because of the fact that the world is quite a bit bigger, it won't be very severe, I hope. I also want to thank these companies and their incredible executives for their generous contribution to American national security, because it's really what it is. It's, to a large extent, national security in addition. You can't continue to pay 13, 14 times more than other countries and think you're going to have security. Collectively, they will invest over $150 billion to build up domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing in America. They're going to be, because of tariffs, they're coming in, and I think because of the love of our country, and maybe because of the November 5th election, but because of tariffs, they're going to be coming in. They're building already. Just about all of them have started. They're building their plants in all states all over the country, and they're building incredible pharmaceutical plants. We're going to have close to 100% of our pharmaceuticals in a very short period of time made in the USA. As part of these agreements, Merck will also donate 3.5 tons of antibacterials to be placed in America's strategic reserve. Thank you very much. GSK will donate over 200 pounds of ingredients to make rescue inhalers, which is a big deal, and Bristol-Myers Squibb will donate 6.5.
I won't hold you, man. I prefer Trump off the cuff rather than the script. Even the teleprompter. I'm like, Trump off the cuff is a lot better and natural than off the script because it's not there. It's more boring. It's like, I'd rather listen to Dick Durbin. I could have picked another politician. I'd rather listen to Nancy Pelosi speak speak for 30 minutes rather than hearing Trump read off the damn script. Just off the cuff. Give him the 10 talking points on the sheet, work from here to here, and go. But this kind of Trump, this isn't my kind of Trump. I don't vibe with this kind of Trump. I need the off the cuff Trump, because off the cuff Trump is who America voted for.
And they knew the alternative was not
Those Americans that voted for him, at least.
If they didn't do it, we were going to charge them tariffs, and the tariffs would have been much more severe than what they did. But they did do it as soon as they realized about the tariffs. Then they did it very easily. No, they're very good people. Let's start with Amgen's Executive Vice President, who I already introduced, and I introduced the people here. So I'd like to ask Bobby and Oz to say a few words, and also I'd like to ask if anybody would like to speak on behalf of your company, or just say how great this country is doing, and you're all building tremendous facilities now in the United States instead of other countries.
Oh, Jenny, I appreciate you.
If you'd like to say something. So, Oz, do you want to start? And Bobby?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Mr. President, he gets taller with time here.
That was a bad mic placement.
Nine
Shut up.
CEOs will speak very briefly about what they have done, because it is a patriotic effort. This is affordability in action. We talk about it in abstract, but this is not an abstract concept. This is a very concrete, tangible, personal reality, because we've got moms with sick children who cannot afford their medications. Working families cannot make ends meet. Seniors on fixed income. We have 80 million people who have to pay more than $100 a month for their prescriptions. They just can't keep up. So this is a hardcore approach to this, driven by a bold leader who's taking bold action. With that bold action, we've now created a standard for the industry. The 9 leaders behind us run the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. They're joining 5 other companies that have been through this White House process over the last 2 months. I want to make sure you appreciate that it doesn't happen with just the people in the room. They're wonderful individuals: Chris Klump, Inma Hernandez, John Brooks, Theo Merkel, Corey, Heidi. A lot of folks worked their tails off to make this happen, and that's why we've gotten to the finish line. The prices that President Trump left to the next administration on pharmaceuticals have gone up 25% until the president took office. We are reversing that trend and making sure that Americans can afford to get the life-saving solutions. Because if these brilliant innovators create solutions to cancer and hypertension, hepatitis, and a bunch of other viruses, illnesses that have been lethal throughout human history, but you can't afford them, then we're not treating you fairly. And that's why what the president has done is so critically important. He mentioned quickly the amount of money that they've contributed towards our strategic stockpile and to building in this country. But fundamentally, the health of the American people will benefit because this president took bold action. And from my personal position, I couldn't do anything I do without Secretary Kennedy, who just does not take no for an answer and will call me even more than the president does to make sure things happen right. Mr. Secretary, even more.
That's not nice. I don't think that's true. I think we got a lot of calls from the president, and at one point in this negotiation, we both stopped answering our phones late at night because we couldn't take it anymore. But I want to thank you, Mr. President, for doing this. President Trump, when he was up here a moment ago, talked about how historic this is and how every one of the news outlets in here ought to have World War III size headlines about this. And I was reminded about how astonishing this achievement is. A couple of days ago, when one of my sons, 29 years old, very, very left-wing Democrat, and disagrees with a lot of the policies of this administration, he called me and he said, "Dad, I want to tell you how proud I am about this. This is the best achievement that could happen to our country. This is something Bernie Sanders has been clamoring for 25 years. Elizabeth Warren has been clamoring for. Joe Biden promised the American people. President Obama, President Clinton all promised to do this for the American people. All of them expressed their outrage, their indignation that we are paying 1/10 in some cases the price of drugs that they're selling in Europe. We developed them here. We manufactured some of them in New Jersey. We were paying $1,300 for a drug manufactured in New Jersey. The same drug manufactured in the same plant was being sold for $88 in London. And everybody recognized how unfair this was. We were paying for all the innovation in this country. And yet, that the rest of the world was free riding on it. And President Trump told me and Dr. Oz at the beginning of this term, this is what I want you to do, and he leaned on us. I think both of us were very skeptical at that point that it could be done, but I would say this is a miracle, and I'm very grateful to all the CEOs who saw the sense in this, who understood the injustice and the unsustainability of the system, and who put public health, and particularly the public health of Americans, ahead of some of their other priorities. And all of them came to the table, and President Trump asked us to do three things. One, to deliver the lowest prices in the world and make this affordable for Americans. Number two, to do it in a way that we would not hurt innovation, that we would keep America as the incubator and the dominating force in innovation around the world. And three, to bring drug manufacturing home to this country. I can tell you by the end of this term, 95% of the drugs we will have MFN. In other words, Americans will be paying the lowest price in the world, or 95% of the drugs. You talk about affordability, people are talking about affordability. Nobody has done anything for affordability greater than this. So I want to thank you, President Trump, for your leadership, for your vision, and for your relentless harassment of us to make sure this all got done. And I really want to just thank all of the CEOs, all these companies, for coming to the table in good faith, working out a very, very pragmatic agreement that allows them to continue to do the innovation that is going to save lives and alleviate suffering around the world, and do it in a way that is more fair to the American people. Thank you.
So we're gonna, Howard first.
Same old cast of
This
characters,
is
boy.
an example of what President Trump does. It's the entire administration, the whole government working together. Bobby and I met at the beginning of the administration of how we could work together to bring drug prices down as the president instructed and bring manufacturing home. So they said they're going to have 95% of the drugs be at the lowest price in the world. And when we walked in, and the president walked in, we were making about 16% of our drugs were being made in America. Right? And we are having hundreds, the people behind us are committed hundreds of billions of dollars to bring their manufacturing here and bring their research here. And that employs Americans and keeps our drugs produced safely. You want to know when you take that drug is made in America, overseen by the FDA, and it is safe. So the president not only is driving prices down, he's doing a 1-2 punch of bringing production here. And the third thing he's doing is when you take that drug, you know it was made in America, protected by Americans, and it's safe. And I can't be more proud. I think this is the most impressive thing I've ever seen, because none of you, and even none of us, thought this was possible. Only President Trump, he knew it, he drove it, and he has delivered it here today. And I can't be more proud to be standing next to him, because this is delivering for America.
You say a lot of tricky words.
Very good. We'll start with Amgen. It is alphabetical.
If you'd like to say something, feel free to do that.
They're all going to say something short, so go ahead.
Good. Well, you go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Come on, man. Anybody got time for this? Make a decision.
There we go. We're going to move it back up, get taller again. Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to work with you to improve the affordability of medicines for American patients. Amgen recently launched Amgen Now, a direct-to-patient option for Repatha that cuts out PBM middlemen and significantly improves affordability for people who are uninsured, facing high out-of-pocket costs, or paying on their own. Repatha will also soon be added to TrumpRx.com. A U.S.-based pioneer for more than 4 decades, we've invested more than $40 billion in U.S. research and manufacturing since 2018, supported by pro-innovation policies that you've championed. Thank you again, Mr. President. We look forward to continuing to work together to deliver meaningful benefits and innovation for U.S. patients.
Oh, that was short and sweet. I thought he was going to be elongated. What's up with his
Thank you,
hair?
Mr. President, Jean-Michel Boers from Boehringer Ingelheim. It's a true honor to be here for an agreement that we believe will make a true difference for American patients. For 140 years, Boehringer Ingelheim, a family-owned company, has been committed to improving health and outcomes to save lives of patients. With today's agreement, we believe that we have actually struck the delicate balance that there is to protect America's leadership in research and innovation, and at the same time ensure that patients pay a fair price for their medicines. So from rare diseases in oncology or pulmonary fibrosis, where we do research into chronic diseases, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, obesity maybe in the future, I will go quick. We will continue to work for the American patients. We are onshoring manufacturing to the US to very rapidly, within the time of this administration, have the majority of our products produced in the US. Thank you, Mr. President.
Dennis, name the countries.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bristol Myers Squibb is an American company that for more than 6,500 years has been protecting and extending American lives.
No, John, don't leave.
And today I'll
Stay,
make two
John.
very brief announcements. One, we are very proud to announce that we will provide Eliquis, our #1 prescribed medicine, to Medicaid for free. We're also answering the administration's calls, as the president said, to shore up the national medicine reserves by donating more than 6.5 tons of Eliquis.
Oh.
These actions build on BMS's commitment to invest $40 billion in the U.S. in research and development and manufacturing. And these investments reflect our enduring commitment to work with the administration to improve patient lives. So thank you.
Hey, quick, easy. Quick, easy. No issues.
Thank you, Mr. President, for shining a light on the importance of our innovation and getting all countries to pay for this innovation. I'm proud to represent Genentech, America's first biotech company. We are offering our flu medicine, which is very important this year given the severity of the flu, Xofluza, for $50 direct to patients, and that's a 70% price reduction. And that also will be available on TrumpRx. We're also very proud of our $50 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing and new research labs. Our new facility in North Carolina will bring 11,000 jobs to America. These are important steps forward for Americans and also for patients. Thank you very much.
Hey, John, I got you.
Thank you very much.
I'm waiting on Dennis to drop that list.
Thank you, Mr. President, to you and the administration. I think this objective of achieving the commitment to affordability and future innovation is extraordinary. And let me just say that the company I represent, Gilead Sciences, the scientists reach for cures every day. In fact, they've come up with medicines that have cured both certain forms of hepatitis and also
Got some patriots in
certain forms
here.
of blood cancer. And we just recently launched a new medicine that's only given twice a year to prevent HIV. And we're working with Secretary Kennedy and his entire team, as well as the State Department, as a part of your ex-US strategy to support ending the epidemic really during your term. And so we look forward to working with you on that. I've never been more optimistic about the innovation that exists across these companies and the impact this can have on America's health and economy. Thank you very much. Yeah, it literally prevents HIV almost 100% given twice a year. And so the America First State Department strategy, we've partnered with them, and we're also partnering with Secretary Kennedy and his team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, black dress.
GSK cares deeply about improving the affordability of medicines, which is why today we're announcing for the 40 million Americans who live with asthma
Yeah, this is
or
live, Stephen.
COPD, we're going to be significantly lowering the cost of the medicines they rely on to breathe more easily every day. We're going to be going direct on 8 of our core medicines with deep discounts, and we're investing in American health security by donating the ingredients that go into rescue inhalers like this one so that people can access them when they need them. This triple win is on top of our commitment to invest $30 billion in American manufacturing, American research, American technology, and American talent. And all of this to do the right thing for American patients, whether that's John in North Carolina, who says he can now visit with his granddaughters without worrying whether he will have to struggle for breath, or Marsha in Kentucky, who says if her asthma inhaler is cheaper, she can properly celebrate with her family this holiday. Mr. President, thank you so much for your ambition for American patients and for the partnership of all of your teams so we get ahead of disease together.
Mr. President, as the others have said, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. I reflect on your goal of driving affordability and access to Americans, but equally getting prices up outside the United States, and we're 100% supportive of your actions. As many of the colleagues have talked about, I represent Merck, and we also are looking to Rx.gov. In addition to bringing in our diabetes drugs, one of the things I just wanted to highlight, we have a novel oral cardiovascular drug, which has an opportunity to meaningfully lower LDL and really still go after what is the leading cause of death in the United States, which is cardiovascular disease, kills 1 million people in the United States.
Get my ass up and run too.
And thanks to TrumpRx.com, you will not only be able to get this pill and have an easy-to-take pill, but it'll be easy to get and it'll be affordable. So I appreciate your leadership and look forward to continuing to partner with you. Thank you.
Great company. Thank you very much.
How many more of these do we got to see?
My name is Vas Narasimhan, CEO of Novartis. Novartis is a 250-year-old company, and today we're the global leader in bringing advanced technologies to patients in the United States around the world. Technologies like radioligand therapies and cell and gene therapies.
My mic had a fart.
But I want to highlight we're bringing the manufacturing of these technologies to the United States now. We've committed to build 9 new facilities. 7 of them we already have a groundbreaking for. Dr. Makari was with me in North Carolina. We were opening up 4 new plants. Our plan is to scale manufacturing here and ensure all our critical medicines, including these most advanced technologies, are made here in the United States for U.S. patients.
You see it.
So first of all, thank you, Mr. President. I think you've convened on an extremely important subject and made more progress than perhaps anybody ever thought was frankly possible. For Sanofi, this is another day to reaffirm our commitment to patients, our unwavering support to trying to do the right thing to help patients get better outcomes. But simply, affordability has been at the heart of that for a very long time. Having concluded this contract with the President and the administration, we find ourselves able, as a joint effort, to go further than we ever thought was possible. And that's kudos to you and for what you have done. Improving affordability and preserving innovation and rewarding innovation is a very difficult balance to take. I think we feel the negotiations and the conversations have had the patient at the center throughout the entire time, as difficult as it may have been on occasions. I think what many can learn from the way this was handled, put simply, is that when you bring industry and you bring government together with the spirit of doing the right thing for patients, it is almost limitless what can be achieved. So on behalf of Sanofi, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, and the team for what has been simply an incredible...
This almost over. I'm about to switch to something else, y'all.
So,
I'm waiting for a lot of questions. Here we go.
Watch, these are the greatest business leaders, and they're beyond that. Many are doctors, and they ended up running the biggest businesses in the country. But you've done so much. And you made it a lot easier than we thought it would be. You were just, you understood to do the right thing. And as I was watching, and I know all of them, not personally, a couple of them personally, but I know them all through reading lots of business magazines and other magazines and newspapers. These are highly respected people. And I said to myself, look at what they've done. They've done something that, and as you said, something that you never thought was possible to get done. Most people thought for the United States to have favored nations where we have the lowest drug price in the world is unthinkable. And I said to myself, we have a thing called the Unaffordable Care Act. It's unaffordable because the insurance companies make so much money, and the insurance companies totally control the Democrats. And I said to myself, standing watching these great leaders, and we have 4 other leaders coming in, Johnson & Johnson, and 4 other very big companies, actually, very great companies. They've all agreed. And they'll be coming in next week, and we appreciate them too. But they've agreed to the same thing, lowest price anywhere in the world. I said, I think that the insurance companies, we should have a meeting and we should talk to them. Because I would say that maybe with one talk, they would be willing to cut their prices by 50, 60, or 70%. They've made a fortune. They've had stock prices that have gone up 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and even 18. Think of this. They went up 1,800%. One of them went up numbers that nobody's ever seen before. They had a nice return, not a 2%, an 1,800% return. One went up more than that. Therefore, there's a lot of fat that can be cut. And I'd like to announce here, this is just an idea that I had standing here, watching these great leaders saying that we're going to have the lowest prices anywhere in the world, something that nobody would have thought possible. And they're going to come out great. But also donating incredible different medications, medications that are world-famous medications that one or another of them make, and donating them in some cases for free or very, very low prices. And I said, you know, I'll bet you if I called a meeting of the insurance companies, the companies that are involved with healthcare costs, I would be willing to bet, I think, that they would reduce their prices very, very substantially. We could have fair health care in the country. Now, my initial thought, and this is what I want to do as of right now, this is the alternative, is that all of the billions and billions, ultimately trillions and trillions of dollars that's paid to these companies, we're going to pay directly to the people. But there's another way of doing it, and that's getting the insurance companies to ease up and to cut their pricing way, way down and stay part of the system. So I'm going to call a meeting. It could be in Florida this coming week, or it could be back in the White House the first week, not the second or third week. I'm going to call a meeting of the big insurance companies that have gotten so rich by receiving money, really much, far, far more money than they're entitled to. And I have a feeling maybe if they would act like these incredible, brilliant, responsible citizens behind me, people that love our country, and they love the world. I mean, frankly, they love, these are international companies for the most part.
Right, Trump.
I'm going to call a meeting of the insurance companies. I'm going to see if they get their price down, to put it very bluntly. And I think that is a very big statement. And what happened here is the biggest statement of all, because nobody thought a thing like this was possible. And I think based on that, I won't even take questions today, because there's no way I can take questions that are anywhere comparable to what you just witnessed. You just witnessed drug prices that will go down at levels never thought even possible, Marty.
You say a lot of tricky
never
words.
Thought even possible. And I think that the second biggest part of this meeting is going to be the fact that I'm going to call in the insurance companies that are making so much money, and they have to make less, a lot less. And maybe we can have reasonable health care without having to cut them out and let it all go awry. So we're going to be calling a meeting. It'll be either in Florida or it'll be here the first week. And I'd prefer not talking and asking questions, only for the reason that this is such a big announcement, meaning what these people have said and what the other four companies are going to say, which is exactly the same. You say a lot of tricky words. That I really don't want to soil it up by asking questions, even questions that are very fair questions that I'd love to answer. So
watch, y'all. Watch.
Just stop right here. I really appreciate the fact that these companies came here. These, again, you know, a lot of the media's not aware, not really cognizant of the people standing behind me. These are the biggest executives in the world. And what they're doing today is monumental. And I want to stand it on that. And I'll see you later if you'd like. But I don't want to be asking questions having to do with anything else. I do want you to remember what I said about the 4.5%. We took 100% of the new workers was in the private sector, and we've cut tremendous numbers of government jobs. And that's why, if you look at our numbers, they're so good. Also, more than, I don't know if you've read this, came out a week ago, more than 50% of our trade deficit was cut. We cut it more than 50% in a period of a few months.
You say a lot of tricky words.
Nobody thought any of these things were possible. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, man, big Trump. Trump said he ain't taking no questions. They still asking. Look at Big Trump walking out, man, like a boss. I'm out. Who else coming? All y'all, everybody.
Right up to the Oval Office.
Hey, come on, all y'all did good. We did a great job. We ain't taking no questions. Ain't taking no questions. Big Trump, man, we out. Big Trump, out. What are we talking about? Big Trump. Listen, man, listen. You already know. Trump gonna run a press conference like he want to run a press conference. He don't care nothing about anything anybody else gonna say. It's the president every time, every damn time. I'm gonna get to my girl next. Listen. Now, if you haven't paid attention to the state of Florida lately, bless your heart. Because we have congressional women down here like, listen, let me tell you about these. I don't even know if it's a black thing. I don't know if it's a what thing. You know what I know it is? It's an ego thing. Because this is my question, chat. This is my question to the chat. This is my question to everybody on social media across the world. Let's say you won $5 million. Let's say you had a contract and they paid you $5 million extra. The question is, would you put it in a money market account to make interest until the people come ask for their money? Or would you take that $5 million and run for Congress? Serious questions. Very serious question. Very serious. Dead serious, chat. So serious. If you had a $5 million overage payment, would you run for Congress? Or, hello, would you put it in a money market savings account? Maybe take a couple lines of credit on that $5 million. Let me know in the chat what you would do, because we have a congresswoman out of Florida, South Florida, right? Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick. She done shuffled $5 million of COVID money into her campaign account and decided to run for Congress. Now, this is something I'll tell you first and foremost, a lot of people may not care about today, but I'm just going to highlight it because she decided to speak on the floor about healthcare yesterday. And my thing is, I get it, but a fraud is a fraud, man.
Madam Speaker, in just 14 days, hardworking families, seniors, and veterans across America will face the largest healthcare insurance premium increase in history, which will make healthcare unattainable for so many Americans. When healthcare becomes unattainable, it turns treatable illnesses into a death sentence. Americans will be forced to figure out their health care. For people with high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, figuring it out means going without medication that is life-saving. This is cruel and simply unacceptable. Congress has the responsibility to act and finally make healthcare affordable for all Americans. Because a single mother in Lauderhill rationing her medication to keep the lights on is counting on us. The disabled veteran in Riviera Beach working 2 jobs is counting on us. The recent college grad in Tamarack who makes enough money only to pay rent is counting on us. We must deliver and extend the ACA tax credits because America is counting on us.
See, my thing is, of course, again, for those people in Riviera Beach, Tamarack, and all the people in the Congresswoman's district, if they received $5 million extra, would they run for Congress or put that $5 million in a money market account and make some interest? Because, I mean, all of a sudden, just think about it. It's federal money, $5 million overpayment. You don't think they're going to come back for their money? You think you're going to be in Congress long enough that people are going to be like, hey, all y'all rich and wealthy for real, I got mine off some fake FEMA money. You don't think they're going to come for that shit? Like, come on, man. I just wish certain people wouldn't be so ignorant in the process. Either way, let's get back to it. My girl, snapping, cracking, clock it. With Jasmine Crockett. Let's see what she was talking about yesterday in committee. I'm gonna probably do some news updates later tonight. If not, in a little bit. I haven't ate. I got like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I could pick my son up like in the next 3 hours, but I may pick him up in the next 2. But I may, need an hour before that. If you're a dad, you understand. You need that mental break before you pick the kids up. But let's check this out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
President Trump has made it clear that he only opposes lawful immigration when non-white people immigrate to the United States.
Oh, shit.
His immigration agenda isn't about public safety or economic stability or jobs. It's about racism. It was racist during his first administration. It's racist now. And like his first administration, he's hired a bunch of racists to carry it out. In fact, I'm gonna pause here really quickly. I know we're talking about TPS, but I don't know if anyone else has mentioned the fact that ICE agents were literally dragging a pregnant woman just this week in a viral video.
That's crazy.
So don't tell me that this isn't about cruelty, because it is. Moving on. The president is now on record admitting to calling majority black and brown nations, quote, shithole countries. He consistently refers to black and brown people as, quote, low IQ, stupid, or nasty. His agenda is about one thing: giving racial preference to specific people seeking to immigrate to America, which is illegal and unconstitutional. But nevertheless, they are going to keep trying to get y'all to believe that immigrants are the cause of all your problems. But here's the truth. Immigrants are not responsible for a billionaire CEO refusing to increase your wage. The corporation you work for isn't replacing your job with artificial intelligence because of Haitian refugees. Your landlord isn't increasing your rent because someone who's fleeing gang violence in Central America moved into your community. A Palestinian kid who was afforded a scholarship to study at an American university isn't responsible for your child's tuition increasing. Latino farm workers aren't responsible for prices of your groceries increasing. Let's be clear, blaming migrants and deporting migrants and ending TPS won't improve the lives of most Americans. As you can see, we're in the middle of the largest, most inhumane deportation program in American history. And guess what? Housing is still unaffordable. Healthcare is still too expensive. Groceries are still too expensive. Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Jobs are still being outsourced. So maybe it's not the immigrants. Maybe it's the failed Republican policies. In my state of Texas, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion. In the United States, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Maybe it's the fact that Republicans would rather give permanent tax cuts to billionaires, but won't even give middle-class Americans temporary health care benefits. Maybe it's the fact that President Trump has the wealthiest cabinet in American history, and these people are out of touch with the American public. Now, Mr. Williams, will ending TPS help or hurt the finishing trades industry your union members work in?
It will hurt the construction industry as a whole.
I'm gonna pause it there for a second. Now, that's what I love about my girl, man. Listen, 98% of elected officials are boring. The 2% that my girl's in, listen, firebrand, that can get you engaged. That's why we added the smoke detector battery to the preaching that happens in the pulpit, because when you're on that dais and you got to drop a word, you need that little ha, but you can't ha on the dais, so you got a little African ceiling bird that we drop in the chat just for it. Make sure you like and subscribe. It is your boy, Hip Hop Lobbyist. Thank y'all for taking time out of your day, tapping in with your boy so far on the stream. We just catching up on some old news. We got to be more consistent with the stream. We also gonna, make sure we tap in. That was earlier. We watched President Trump. Didn't do a debrief of that yet. We're gonna get here. We're seeing Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick, and then I may wrap up shortly. But I appreciate y'all.
Let me tell you this, or let me ask you this. This ain't in here. Has it already hurt the construction industry?
It has, because of the fear and uncertainty.
There's a lot of fear. There are workers that are not showing up to their jobs, regardless of their status, because of how immigration is being carried out under this administration. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Will ending TPS help or hurt job site safety?
It will hurt job site safety.
Will ending TPS help or hurt affordability in our communities?
It will hurt affordability in our community.
Exactly.
Who is our?
As people are complaining about the fact that housing is up, you've got to think about what those input costs look like. Those input costs besides the fact that he's been reckless and ridiculous and not been reined in as it relates to the tariffs. And we know that we get a lot of lumber out of Canada. We want to fight with Canada. We want to fight with Mexico. And then we want to tell people that have come here and are going through the process. And I'm not going to say that any process is perfect. But the last time that I checked, Republicans continue to offer us concepts of a plan instead of actual plans because they would rather campaign on the chaos instead of fixing it. Listen, none of us sitting here, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, wants to be unsafe in our country.
You right about that.
I want to be clear. I don't want a criminal in my neighborhood either. But going after all of these countries, when we talk about, it looks like they want to end TPS for Burma and El Salvador and Ethiopia and Haiti and Lebanon and Somalia and South Sudan and Syria. They actually do have Ukraine got extended a little bit and Yemen got extended a little bit. But the vast majority of these countries, there's one thing in common.
Black countries.
A lot of those people from those countries have a little bit of melanin in their skin. With that, I will yield.
I told y'all, you got to clock it with Jasmine Crockett, baby. Listen. Listen, sometimes you need that little excitement in the process. You need a little bit of that excitement in the process. Listen, I'm telling you that right now. So where am I at? Where am I at in the day? We've been on the stream roughly 2.5, 3 hours. You know what it is? It's the last working Friday for some people of the year until, after Christmas, and it's like New Year's, and they really ain't gonna be working until January, right? So I got to make sure I circle in on some people because people owe me money now, you feel me? And make sure the invoices and payments get processed before the week gets up and people get out. But either way, I appreciate y'all tapping in for the stream today. Let me do that again. I appreciate y'all tapping in with me on the stream today. We've had over 70,000 people watching, over 300 of y'all watching on the stream right now currently. I want to thank each and every one of y'all taking time out of your schedule watching with me. But guess what? I forgot. Wait a minute. I got it. Damn it.
I gave you everything I had. All I ask is when you lay your head on that pill at night,
just know
I gave you everything I had.
Everything I had. And at the end of the day, I'm not pulling a race card. I'm just trying to grow this stream. We're trying to still hit 10,000 subs by Christmas. If you haven't subscribed, if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button up here somewhere. I believe it's up here. I believe just go ahead and hit subscribe. We surpassed over 8,700 already. We're almost at 9,000. I think a great Christmas gift to me. I'm not asking for your money. I'm not asking for you to donate. Save the money and time for your kids, your family, your bills, right? Because guess what? Your escrow could be short. A lot of things could be happening. But I appreciate y'all tapping in with me for free. And I'm not asking for anything else besides that, right? So thank y'all. One thing I do want to highlight, I talked about mental health earlier. You realize, if not now than ever before, I freestyle a lot of these shows. So I have like a lot of the different things that I want to talk about. And then Trump will go live, and I'm just trying to at least cater to at least having a decent show, or at least, having a decent presentation. I do realize that a lot of times this will be people's first time seeing me. And if it's to a point of saying like, okay, who's this random guy? What's he talking about? His hip hop lobbyist guy, what's he on? At least sharing a little bit of me, a little bit of what I do. But I also realize that if I start jumping into legislation, jumping into news, jumping into some stuff, it may not actually retain folks. They'll just leave, right? So my thing is, at least till we get to 10,000, I don't want to go too far into the weeds of policy. So that's why I've been doing a lot of Trump trendy stuff, whatever it is, just being transparent with you as we grow the channel. Because it's like, if I start putting out 50 YouTube shorts or 50 shorts, and then all of a sudden you like and subscribe, it's like never connection. But at least here, there's some kind of connection out there, right? Yeah, Crockett did pull the race card at the end. I thought you were talking about me, but you're talking about Crockett. Yeah, I get that. But collectively, respectfully, thank y'all for tapping in with your boy. I want to thank y'all for helping build this channel out. We've grown from up to roughly 400 subs to over 8,000. We're going to end the year strong. We're going to get to 10,000 before the year's up. I have to be more consistent. The family will be here, so hopefully we'll have my son in the background, and maybe my wife will come on. We'll talk about some education stuff. You never know. But either way, thank y'all. I'll make sure I chop up some of this content and get some of these short clips out for the people. I need to post more on TikTok, Instagram, and honestly, I'll be real. My wife's birthday was 2 days ago. My son's birthday was this past weekend. I was locked in with the family. So really, like, and I was saying it early on the stream if y'all weren't here. After Thanksgiving, it's kind of like downhill for me, right? Because it's son's birthday, wife's birthday, Christmas, New Year's, work, right? Because top of the year is normally when session starts. So I'm really on a time crunch. And even when our son was born, it was like, okay, he was born the 13th. We had to wait like 4 weeks. And then 5 weeks, I was right back on the road from that point. So it's kind of a thing of saying, we're in the cycle, and there's this content creator thing has been like a new thing this year. I'm really been trying to 6 months now, working into my schedule to be like, okay, how do you balance maybe 6 hours of client work a day, maybe 3, streaming, father, dad, husband, provider. And after a while, it's like, you know what? The content's making some cash, is doing a little something, not paying all the bills, or paying some, right? At least cell phone, whatever it may be. But after a while, it's like, okay, until this flips over, I have to be committed to my everyday commitments, my contracts, my clients. But I know eventually this is going to get to a point of saying, hey, appreciate that, Braveheart. It's going to get to a point of saying, you know what? Maybe this YouTube channel will be sustainable. And my thing is, I wasn't on a chase to say, hey, I need to be a YouTube content creator. I need to be whatever. But I did see that my voice held some kind of weight, right? I know respectfully, elected officials, Republican and Democrat, will call me for opinions, things like that. I have experience in the process. I actually, again, have a check presentation for a group that I was able to secure a government contract for, an appropriation through government, through the process for them. So it's always good to celebrate that. It's a little ego because I'm driving to be fair, to be real, driving across the state to capture some content and a notion of, hey, this is a success of the work that we've done, but I'm not a full-fledged team. I'm a one-man operation, right? A lot of teams, a lot of the lobbying firms and lobbyists, I have maybe 5 or 10 people they could bounce ideas off of. What I have is me, my chessboard, and relationships. And from there, like, okay, cool. I play Madden, NCAA, FIFA, whatever. Like, I believe all the video games help you build like the mental fortitude. But I take that same thing and I put it into politics, right? And from there, I've been successful. I have some vetoes, have some successes, but maybe 80% success rate with Ron DeSantis as governor, as all projects get into the governor's desk. Not all of them get vetoed. Some of them get approved. Majority get approved. So it's powerful, especially when I'm not a Gucci wearing private jet, private suit. I'm a regular dude. I'm a regular, they say a YN, I'm a RN. I'm just a regular motherfucker, right? But I fell into politics, and this is actually what I love to do. So from there, elected members of Congress, state legislatures, pass laws, constitutional amendments on the ballot, all type of stuff I've done successfully. But now I've done this content creating thing, and it's been eye-opening. I really do appreciate the support. We got Malaysia in the building. Appreciate y'all watching from Malaysia, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine, I was thinking local right here. Like, you know what? I got to talk to people in my city I connect with. If I'm big, like in my city, more clients, people, I'll be the first thing they think of. Hey, nonprofit, how do you, whatever, right? You know how people like think in their bubble. And then it's like, I've done e-commerce. I've done some other sales. So I'm half Jamaican. I'm Jamaican. So I have different jobs, different titles. So I know how to do a lot of different things, a lot of different skills. But this is the one I'm like, you know what? I didn't think that my voice would be able to hold people's attention in Malaysia. We have a great 5 people in Australia that tap in, Liverpool, South Africa, also in Houston, Detroit, Miami, Pompano, LA, Seattle, New York, DC, all over, Canada, Mexico, all over, right? So we have a nice little bit of people who connected with the channel, connected with me. I need to do better, one-man operation, so I needed to get my banners together and all the other stuff. But I did promise throughout earlier this year, we're going to have a day and time and a title. Oh, you're watching from South Africa? See, I told you. See, we were all over. See, that's the part where it's kind of like, damn, I'm just me. You feel me? And I never thought that somebody would, whoever you are in the world, would take time out of your day to watch upstate New York, right? Hey, I appreciate you, Braveheart. So it's great. One thing I was telling my wife, like, she got a little mad. Like, you didn't post my birthday. I'm like, you have to understand that I've grown from, not just this channel, like my Facebook channel has taken off. I've gone from 200 followers there to over 20,000 or 19,000. I'll be realistic, right? And it's like, okay, damn, at what point do you stop sharing your personal life online? Right? Because like that's what I was saying, like about the Kodak Black stuff. I saw a video with him, Casarett. I may do like a little reaction to that and then put that on later. I gotta hit Feezy up and see if he'll be on. Hey, Feezy the Great, Ladre, Madonna Harold Pryor, Chevron Jones, Senator Jones. Like, listen, we need y'all on the show. We need y'all on the show. I want a group of people, men on the show to talk about men's mental health. You feel me? And not just the main topic, just, you know, whatever it is. Because yesterday I tapped in with Sean D's show and we talked about it briefly, just saying, oh, hey, the content creator thing is like, it's not just an everyday thing. It's a job. Because once I'm done with this, imagine the take to say, hey, let me go find the good clips that I could put on the show. Let me go find all this other stuff on top of balancing, on top of trying to hear other people's opinions. Because I imagine if you're a black Democrat that works on black issues and all of a sudden people find you for the first time and they call you Uncle Tom and a sellout. It's like, damn, like, what am I doing wrong? But then you realize, oh, it's some trolls' opinions, but all collectively, it's like you never, I think, in my eyes, as 40, and even then sharing too much information, right? It's like, damn, you have people all over the world watching. But then also realizing it's a lot of crazy motherfuckers across the world. So how do you not share too much? How do you at least connect with people, but safely guard it to your IP address and your family is, you know, safe? Because as a homie told me last night, one thing you don't want to do is like piss somebody off and all of a sudden, oh yeah, how do you enjoy this? And they start posting your address and the last 4 years social in the chat, and you got to shut everything down and you scared all night. Like, bitch, how much have they got? Bitch, come get it today. I ain't got it. But hopefully in the next year or two, we're going to have it, secure accounts, secure everything. But either way, rambling here. Thank y'all for tapping in. Over 70,000 of y'all watching, even through my rambling. Let me see how many people stayed through the rambling. About 100, 150, 170 y'all, 72,000 people. Man, I appreciate every single one of y'all, man. Amazing increase in viewers. Well done. Your topics sound like as though they will go down very well. Yeah, Shelly, that's actually what I'm trying to do, because I'll be real with you. Can I share it since y'all here, right? My process, I went and bought a Mac Mini last year, built my whole setup. I've been building out my office. I got to get with my girl Crystal to finish the desktop and then the lighting, and we'll be good there, right? It's honestly been eye-opening, but then also realizing that, you know, it's one of those things to say, how can I improve my process, right? So I actually took 7 different live streams, which was 270 pages of transcripts, and I threw it in AI. I used Perplexity. Wyoming tapping in, appreciate you tapping in. And I was like, you know what? How can I improve my processes? Because I realized that I'm not good with call to actions. I'm not good with, hey, subscribe. Hey, I don't want you to give me no money, right? If you decide to give, hey, $1 here, if I made one night, I made like $130 streaming, like $1 here, $5 there, $20 there, right? I'm like, damn, I feel like a stripper, right? I tell you, that's the main thing every time, right? But it's a fact of, I took the transcript down to help improve my processes so that I can lay out a show, so that it can be engaging, so that people catch me where it's at, because you know, I'm streaming vertically, also doing the canvas now a little bit, but it's the fact of saying, all right, cool. How can I not only share my experience, my insight, but also make sure that if there is a good running show that if people want to come back and watch for 3 or 4 hours or 2 hours, whatever, you know, it's there, right? So it's, thank you, Braveheart. And you've been here almost the whole 2-3 hours for it. I appreciate you, 2.5 hours. How do you make sure you're giving something quality? So my biggest thing is, at least trying to improve my processes, because they say, you know, you start off YouTube, and this is why I didn't think the YouTube thing would take off. This wasn't my goal for 2025. Is you start off at 400 subscribers, it may take you 4 or 5 years to get to 10,000, right? Unless you go super viral. And I was doing shorts, it wasn't really taking off, whatever, right? It wasn't as consistent still. But then it's like the live stream ended up allowing me to connect with somebody like Braveheart, right? Braveheart19, she's been here for about 2.5 hours. She in and out of the chat, right? Great. All of a sudden, people enjoying the chat, they enjoy the conversation. They're like, you know what? For a Democrat, like my man Didi, one of the mods, he'll be like, hey, for a Democrat, bro, you're not bad in your thought process. Not even like, oh, Uncle Tom and Republican. It's like, oh, you're middle of the ground, because I tell people, Braveheart, you can grab this, right? I'm bi, not sexual, but partisan. As in, I want the best for all people, outside of Republican and Democrat. I want people to understand, like, okay, cool. How can I collectively, my phone just fell. How can I understand the conversation I need to have with an elected official, right? Because I've seen a lot of elected officials in my 15 years of process give people bullshit. I've been bullshitted by politicians, but I do know that you can corner a motherfucker, politician, senator, representative, whatever the fuck title they want to have, right? And say, okay, cool. This is an actual statute. Here are the provisions. Here's the actual law. Here's the fiscal impact of what you're doing. And if you go file this amendment, I know that you'll be at least able to at least get 4 people to agree with you because here's the impact in their districts, right? And it becomes more of a thing of, if you can help, as I've learned, educate elected officials on how to solve the problems that impact the passion of your protest, then I think that that can really make an impact across the world. So that's why I tell people I'm bi, because I'm not bisexual, I'm bipartisan. As in, I feel that collectively, when we get out of the narratives of the racism, of the sexism, of the anti-Semitism, of everything, and say, you know what, we talk about America first, we know the history of America, cool. We were born into the history of this country is already, so we weren't with the founding fathers to tell them different, cool. So we're here in this construct, how do we work within it? So a simple thing in the black community, black culture, they'll talk about reparations, right? Let me take a breath, I've been talking a lot and a little fast. Because I also feel like I want to rush all the time too. I want to hold your attention. I don't want you to lose people, right? But people talk about reparations. And to me, reparations today is not 40 acres and a mule, because half these motherfuckers not going to know how to till a farm or work a farm, right? And then the other part of it is nobody knows what to do with a mule. They're probably going to trade it in for a charger anyway, right? For whatever the value is. So respectfully, it's like, okay, to me, reparations end up being, how do you get equal footing in the same government system that you complain about, right? Because I don't believe, and this is during the pandemic, we thought about this, like during, if you remember Clubhouse, they had like a little phone, everybody was locked from outside, they were inside. Clubhouse was a thing, right? And they were cutting everybody these $1,200 checks for the pandemic. And my thing is that as black folks, right? Let's say they did the same thing for reparations. If they said, you know what, all right, cool. This is what the black folks, the KNWE girls want, right? Let's go ahead and take $1 trillion, $1 billion, and cut everybody a check. American descendants of slaves, right? All these people, let's cut them a check. And we're going to give them, if it comes down to it, let's say $5,000, right? Cool, that's a decent, you may say, like, damn, fuck, it's a sin of slavery. It's America's #1 sin. $5,000 is what they say the reparations could be. Cool, right? The government cuts you this $5,000 check for reparations. That means that you can't complain about shit no more, right? Because they've decided to say, you know what, with inflation, maybe it's $50,000. Cool. They cut you a $50,000 check, right? Because by family and lineage, everything else, cool. This is what the government owes you. You get that. Is that enough to sustain forever, right? Because like Casarett was saying about the money, like you would think, damn, this brother's rich, they doing all this stuff, so that if you have money, you're not going to have the problems like the poor people have. You're not going to have the mental stress. No, you do. You have more problems because you can't even go grocery shopping like regular people. You can't go outside because you need security, right? So it changes the mindset, but it's also the mental health part of like, damn, is this okay, right? But all put together, I am rambling here. I'm hungry too. All put together, I just want to have a good quality content show. So I've been trying to put my best foot forward, improve my processes, get where we need to, but this is me. So I apologize if it's all over, if it's rambling, if it may give you some ADD, ADHD, whatever. But my girl Braveheart, I appreciate you tapping in, because I did realize also that the live stream vertically does allow me to tap in people who may be watching shorts. Maybe I came in their feed some kind of other way, and it's like, you know what, hey, they decided to sit here and stay, right? I'm gonna check the chat a little more, then I'm gonna get out of here. Give me a second. Yeah, man. Well, I get you. Yeah, and that's the part where it's not necessarily, I think this is about reparations. I would assume your response is here, right? My thing with reparations is I support some kind of, okay, retribution back to people. But if it comes back in the form that people get it, they're not thinking, okay, damn, you can't complain about shit else. Just like, okay, cool. Just think about this. Trump having a third term. Some people are anti, hey, 22nd Amendment. Okay, cool. Then I'm not thinking, well, shit. What if this sets up Obama versus Trump? Because if Trump can run for a third term, Obama can too. Fuck it. This is what we want. Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao type shit, right? Cool. America first. Cool. We get there. All the racist underbellies, all the trolls, all the business stuff, all even black folks who are like, you know, Obama didn't do enough for us the first time. Would you vote for him a third term, right? Versus Trump. And I think those are the kind of narratives that I would like to help curate on this channel. But I also realize that I don't want to be a, and just true transparency here, I don't want to be a guy chasing headlines, right? I think that's one thing that's kind of like held me back to say, okay, cool. Just think about it. I'm on a Disney cruise with my family. Do I fuck up the algorithm by posting some family stuff? Or do I post some political stuff and not be engaged? Do I like, and it's like, I hate to say it, it's a thought process, but it's like, damn, when can you like clock out? And I do believe that me as a grown person, 40 years old with a family and a base and a foundation of a man before doing this content creating thing, has given me a fact of saying, okay, I don't have to be like these other guys that are streaming and content creating, but it is a point of saying, all right, cool. How can I collectively build an audience, a community, a culture that wants to know more and not just hear the same talking points on the media? And I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything. I know enough. But I also realize that out of 23 million people in the state of Florida, there are roughly 1,600 of us that are professional government affairs professionals, lobbyists, whatever you want to call it, consultants in the space. And there are roughly 60 of us that are black. So that's roughly 0.001%, 0.01, if anything, percent of anything, top 1%, even in that 1,600, of people who actually know this process. And then it's another thing of people who actually have success in this process. And I hate to say it, but I'm one of those ones. So that's why I decided to say, hey, I'm gonna build a channel out, not to compare myself to anybody, not any other elected official, because I do feel that personally, after achieving a lot politically without being elected, I firmly believe that a lot of elected officials only serve for their ego, either family legacy or ego. I feel that there's a small portion of people who actually serve for the American people, right? Me personally, because it is what it is. However, I've been on here almost 3 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes. Again, another thing, I used to just jump on the stream. Hey, we're here. Now, at least this is a debrief, right? But today we watched President Trump's drug price thing yesterday, his drug price announcement yesterday, the declassification, of marijuana yesterday to a Schedule 3, which means that it's almost like your testosterone drugs or some other things where it's lower risk than a Schedule 1, which is good for what it is for research purposes. I think that this can be a good avenue caveat for a lot of colleges who could be struggling some kind of way to maybe find some extra grant money, extra private partnerships, some kind of way to study cannabis, because now it's at least a Schedule 3. We also listened to President Trump live, also heard a little bit of Jasmine Crockett. We didn't really do too much, but 70,000 of y'all decided to stay with your boy. 74,000 here so far. So anyway, I said I'm out a couple times. I'm really out this time. So y'all have a wonderful afternoon. I'll probably be on later. Braveheart, appreciate you. All the support and love today. I'm out, y'all. Have a good one. As I hit my buttons.